The countdown is on in Kamloops, British Columbia, as our coverage of the 103rd Memorial Cup presented by Kia continues here on TSN. It's game number 2 of the tournament, and today we get our very first look at both the Seattle Thunderbirds and the Peterborough Petes, the OHL champs going up against the WHL champs, and that is coming up next here from the Sandman Center. And I'm your host, Laura Dykin, joined alongside Cheryl Pounder and Craig Button, and this tournament got off to a great start yesterday. The Quebec Remparts coming out with the 8-3 win over the hometown Blazers, and it's now time to see Seattle and Peterborough for the very first time. Let's show you how they got here. It's the road to the Memorial Cup presented by Kia, the official automotive partner of the Canadian Hockey League. Kia, movement that inspires. Well, the Thunderbirds booked their ticket to their 3rd Memorial Cup by defeating the WHL's top team, Winnipeg, in the championship series, riding a hot goaltender in Thomas Milic, and the 2 big guns they acquired this season, Dylan Guenther and Luke Prokop. While the Petes have proven to be the upset kings of these CHL playoffs, knocking off powerhouses Ottawa and North Bay before taking down London to secure their Memorial Cup berth. There is going to be a ton of talent, every single position well represented, 17 NHL draft picks combined between these 2 teams. So you have lots of players to choose from. Who are you watching here today?
Well, how can you not watch Dylan Guenther? We spoke to his head coach, Matt Odette, earlier this morning, said there is one thing that is missing from this guy's resume, and it is a Memorial Cup. He was injured last year. Know that he'll be chomping at the bit, leading the WHL playoffs with 16 goals and 12 assists. This is a guy who loves to shoot the puck, fired 100 shots on goal in the playoffs alone. But you got to look for him to drive play. He's not afraid to get to the middle of the ice. He's also a creator. He will look to create room. He's got a heavy IQ, and hey, he scored a golden goal. He'll be looking to recapture that type of moment here in Kamloops.
Well, for Peterborough, Brennan Othman, and you're not going to have to look very hard to find Brennan Othman in the guts of the action. He's everywhere where it matters, in and around the net, on the boards, fighting for loose pucks, trying to do whatever he can to help his team win. He plays with an edge, and sometimes he crosses over that edge, but make no mistake about it. He can score, he can make plays, he finds rebounds at the front of the net, and he has one thing in his mind: do whatever it takes to help my team win. And he does that, and he does that exceptionally well.
Well, he's got a great release, and he's got that scorer's mentality as well, Craig, and you need these types of players on your team. They've played at the highest level, and they just want to win so bad that they're willing to put themselves in any of the tough areas of the ice, and he's one of those guys that's going to lead by example and get to the paint.
Well, you know, Laura, you talk about how much talent is here on the ice, and the beautiful thing about Othman and Guenther is neither one of them have to do it all by themselves, and they understand what it means to be part of a team. They understand that they have an important role to play, but they don't have to do it all themselves, and that becomes so important when you're talking about competing for the ultimate championship, the Memorial Cup. Because the players are going to put pressure on themselves in and of itself, but they know that they have lots of support around them, and that's really significant.
Well, and you need your team to win these championships, and you have to recognize that it's about buying into whatever that team identity is. And you know, for Peterborough, it's going to be that physicality. It's going to be staying disciplined. And for Seattle, they're going to need all their parts. Why? They are so deep from back to front. I mean, goaltending right through their decor, which, I mean, I'm looking at that decor right now, and I'm saying, woo, you try and get inside there. That's going to be pretty tough. But both teams going to battle it out and go head-to-head.
We know how different these 2 paths were for these teams to get to this point. Now that's only a distant memory, because it's all about getting this Memorial Cup underway for both of these teams. Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We mentioned Dylan Guenther, you know, who missed out on last year's tournament, scored the golden goal for Canada, and now here he is finally getting a chance to win a Memorial Cup. Puck drop is now just moments away. The only thing to do before that is the singing of our national anthem. So time for a little O Canada here at the Sandman Center in Kamloops.
And now, would everyone please rise and remove your hats for the singing of the American and Canadian national anthems with our guest, Joe Hendricks.
Veuillez vous lever, retirer vos chapeaux et casquettes et rejoignez Joe Hendricks pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? whose broad strength and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of us all? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Quand on brasse et porte le pays, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire, tout est une poupée de plus brillant exploit. God keep our lands glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Welcome to beautiful Kamloops, British Columbia, where we are set for day 2, game number 2 of the 2023 Memorial Cup presented by Kia, the Seattle Thunderbirds, and the Peterborough Petes. Get you introduced now to the starting goaltenders, brought to you by Cavendish Farms, the official French fry of the Canadian Hockey League. It is a pair of playoff MVPs. What a resume it's been thus far in the young career of Thomas Milic. Under 18 gold, World Junior Gold in Halifax, WHL champion. But today he'll make his first ever start at a Memorial Cup. And on the other side of the equation for the Peterborough Petes, Michael Simpson was at his very best against the London Knights in the OHL Championship Series. He had 2 50-plus save performances en route to a Game 6 victory at home in Peterborough. Here is Matt Odette. He's been at this tournament before. It was in 2017 when he was an assistant coach with the T-Birds at the time. Steve Konowalchuk was the bench boss. And Rob Wilson on the other side has also been at this tournament before, not as a head coach, but as a player. In 1989 with the Peterborough Petes, did a world tour in the meantime with stops in England, Italy, and Germany before returning back to his old junior team, now in his 5th year as head coach of the Peterborough Petes.
Well, we showed you off the top Reed Schaefer, and Jared Davidson is very much cut from the same cloth. This is a Seattle team that knows the physical game. They've got lots of skill blended in with speed and physicality. Jared Davidson's going to center the second line. He'll be in an offensive role, but a shutdown role as well. He's a beast, a 5th rounder to the Montreal Canadiens, and he is one of many significant parts of a very dangerous team for Seattle.
And this is a very hyped up Seattle team, isn't it, Kevin? And Peterborough, they'll be used to a matchup like this. They were the underdogs in their second round series against Ottawa. They weren't supposed to beat North Bay either after going down 3-2 in that series, and now trying to equal the task of taking down the WHL champions from Seattle. It'll be Tucker Robertson versus Jared Davidson. The center ice face-off dot. Referees for the contest today, Chris Critch, Dave Lewis, Brian Burkhoff, and Ron Dieterle are on the lines. And game number 2 starts off with a quick shoot-in from Lucas Siona. Quick whistle from Michael Simpson as Rob looks Kevin at the Bet Rivers Tips to win.
Yeah, for Seattle, to me, it's win the wall. And what I mean by that is they're a team when pushed will put the game on the wall. They'll create an awful lot of offense off of the cycle. Look at how many goals they scored in the playoffs, 82 of them. For the Petes, it's physical and discipline. And Rob Wilson talked to us about that, where he's really happy with the way that they play between the whistles. They're on the body, the whistle goes, discipline and smart.
Seattle look to set it up. Here's Jeremy Hansel off the boards. And toward the corner, Davidson back up to Hansel. Toward the corner, he turns it back around, cut off by Tucker Robertson. Taken off the boards now by Krinkovic. Krinkovic to the slot. He couldn't get the shot through Brian Zanetti. Held in. Allen, and a shot from Davidson. And another test here for Simpson off the one-timer.
Well, back to the Memorial Cup, and there's a history here for Seattle. Their last appearance was in 2017 in Windsor. They've never won it. Their third appearance overall, and for the Petes, they've got one Memorial Cup on their shelf. This is their 10th appearance here.
Peterborough have played in 7 Memorial Cup finals, Kevin, but they've only managed to win the one. Seattle, as you mentioned, first time since 2017. That was a disappointing performance for them in that tournament as the WHL champs at year's tournament in Windsor, Ontario.
We talk about these teams and the identity of the team. So you look at Seattle, and they're a team that can play it any way you want to. They're going to put it on the wall at some point, but if it's a rush game and you want to open it up, they can do that. For Peterborough, they're a team that's going to play a lot more patient. They're an underdog style of team, and they're going to be content in blocking shots and maybe not over forechecking. They want to make sure they play it safe and strong.
Get our first look at this top unit for Seattle with Reed Schaefer, Dylan Gunther, and Brad Lambert. All made appearances at the World Juniors this year. Lambert with Finland, Schaefer and Gunther with Team Canada. And all 3 first-round picks for the National Hockey League as a blocker save made by Simpson bounces out to the slot. Lambert couldn't get it through. It's a 2-on-0. J.R. Avon with Lockhart. Avon, a shot! Where is it? Avon thinks he scored. Millich had it underneath him in the crease, and there was no initial call on the ice from the referee.
Well, from where we're standing, you can't actually see the puck cross the line. We're going to get another look at it here, and you would assume. So the initial shot and a rebound. So Seattle has one shot, and then look at the block, how important that is. You build a wall defensively. There's the patience, and you're up to the races. The old 2-on-0, and there it is. You have to assume the puck's in the net, right? Because Millich is down, and then he spins into the net. But where's the puck? So far, I haven't seen it in a replay. Usually you can go off of the reaction. Well, there it is. It's in his... Oh, yeah, no question. That's a goal. So the players on the ice, their initial response is usually the right one. Well, they're going to review this one for about 3 seconds before they realize that it's a good goal. And how huge is this for a start from the Petes? To get in the head and against the goaltender who has been rock solid through the playoffs, and Thomas Millich.
Here's the call. And it is a good goal for J.R. Avon. He had a couple against London in the OHL Championship Series and pulled the exact same move on the breakaway. Goes to the backhand, and it's an early goal for the Peterborough Petes, not even a minute 30 into the contest.
And, you know, prototypical. It's not much of a surprise for me to see the way it comes. It comes from defense. It's a block shot, patient, and then you take what's given you. Attack after you take care of your own end, and that is a big one for the Petes.
What a moment for J.R. Avon from Selwyn, Ontario. About 20 minutes or so outside of Peterborough. Grew up watching the Petes, played minor hockey with the Peterborough Petes. Krinkovic tries to slip it in short side. Simpson makes the save, and he'll cover up with loads of Seattle pressure in front of the net.
Well, you're going to see a lot of shots already, 4 for Seattle, and you can see the way they do it. There's the wall win. Look how tight all 3 forwards are to each other. It's a 3-foot little dish pass to support, and then you attack the net like with that pack mentality. Nice job from Krinkovic to get it to the net. Siona right there for any rebound, and look at the response and the defense from the Petes. There's 3 offense. Well, we'll match that with 3 defense. It's going to be a tug of war.
Battle for it off the draw. Dodd plays it back. Korchinski with traffic in front. And Simpson able to reel that in. Not even 2 minutes into this game, Kevin. He's already seen 6 shots sent his way.
Yeah, shot mentality for sure. That's something that Seattle will do a lot of. And I'll tell you, it's so important in this tournament, particularly in your first game, to grab some form of confidence, some form of momentum. Ultimately, it's an early goal, and man, I'll tell you, if you look on paper, you got to think that the favorite in this game would be Seattle, but the Petes have been so resilient throughout these entire playoffs, and they get a first goal, a big goal.
Puck trickling into Simpson, and he's going to cover that. That'll force another face-off, and one key for this Peterborough team as well, Kevin, will be face-off. So if Michael Simpson has an opportunity to freeze it, he's probably going to take it, given Peterborough are the best on face-offs in this tournament.
That's such a good point, Vic. It's the truth. All top three centermen are 60% or better on the face-off dot, and that affords you, just like you said, you know what, we'll ice it if we have to, no big deal. We'll cover it in our own zone if we have to stay out of trouble. Most likely going to win their fair share.
And they win this one as well. In the regular season, Peterborough had 3 of the top 5 face-off takers percentage-wise with Jacques Dubois, Owen Beck, and Tucker Robertson. Pickford plays it up to Popovich. Kai Sanders is out there with Jordan Gustafson as well. As Jacques Dubois curls it to center, where Bryce Pickford will shoot it in off the boards. Gavin White, stretch pass up to center. Second Memorial Cup appearance for White. Played the final last year with the Bulldogs, along with his teammate Avery Hayes, who started his tournament with a goal in each of the 3 games. Gustafson leaves it for Lambert. Lambert diving in. Bit of a sharp angle shot, handled by Simpson. Hansel across to Schaefer. That one's over top of the net. As Lambert goes back to Hansel. Gunther finds Hansel again. Slides over to Gunther. Lambert, Gunther, fan of the shot, takes another. That's off the heel of Connor Smith. Now Schaefer takes a bump from McCoy. And the puck is lost as the whistle sounds, and a bit of a crowd here draws in the corner.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see the emotional level in this game for Seattle. It's a big piece of who they are, down by a goal early here, but they're a disciplined team as well. But they're also going to want to make sure that they make their presence felt, and that physicality and emotion is a big part of what makes them tick. There's that release from Schaefer earlier in the shift. You can see it was a shot block, right? The defenseman's in the lane. Watch the way he changes the point. He pulls it to his feet and shoots it all in one motion. And on a goal that started from a block shot, nice little release and a change point of attack there from Reed Schaefer. Nice shot.
Davidson wins the draw. Korchinski for Krikovic. Couldn't get it through Zanetti, and he'll lay it down the ice, fresh ice, and it will just have enough to go for icing to the Peterborough Petes. Bit of a choppy start to this one today.
Yeah, it's a slow pace to it. I think the Petes will take that, especially after having the first goal. Check this out off the defensive zone faceoff. Watch the 3 forwards in high ice for the Petes. Every one of them is in a shoot lane, a shot lane, pardon me, and we saw the first goal. It's from a block shot in there. It's an ice, but still, there's nothing to the net, and they transition from that. We'll pay attention to that, and we'll see. So far, they've been really good at filling lanes.
Out to center, Jonathan Relief back into the lineup. First time in about 3 weeks as this puck is redirected high and out of play over the glass.
Well, the last time the Seattle Thunderbirds team went to Memorial Cup in Windsor, they won in Regina. That was a Sunday. They flew home back to Seattle on a Monday, and on Wednesday they're back on a flight back to the Eastern Time Zone. And Manadette said we had nothing left. We were tired. We dealt with the time change. We weren't set. Different story here. They've had 7 days rest. It was a familiar bus ride up here to Kamloops. It's a familiar arena that they've played in many times, winning the Western Conference last year against Kamloops, and they feel very confident, very rested, and very relaxed going into this one.
Simpson hangs on to this for Peterborough. They wrapped up their league championship on a Sunday night at home. They would have had to have played a Game 7 had it gone that far against London in London, Ontario the very next night, but they've had a couple days plus the off day yesterday to rest up.
And you know this team really well, don't you, Vic? You've been around these guys a bit.
I've been to Peterborough a few times in my day, yes.
Yeah. Easy to tell when we talked with Coach Rob Wilson this morning, your relationship with him and your knowledge on this team is next to none.
Bit of an unorthodox hire for the Petes to go to a coach that's worked for so many years in Europe, but it's paid off so well for them. 5th year as head coach of this team. Peterborough OHL champs for the first time since 2006. Sawyer Mineo. Passes off the dock, off the boards ahead for Nico Mijatovic. Gavin White lays it around for Maillet. Now to Hayes. He feathers out off the glass. Down the ice for Jeremy Hansel. Mijatovic to the line. Zanetti quickly off the boards for Hayes. They'll keep it moving ahead as Nolan Allen picks it up. Now Lambert accelerating through center. Off to Dylan Gunther. Makes a move on Zanetti. Gunther shoots and Simpson able to stop him off the wing. As Gunther planted into the boards by Tucker Robertson. No arms in the air. We play on.
That looked dangerous. Gunther was vulnerable there. He went head first into the boards. Good to see him get up quickly.
And he is right back up there in the scrum. Nowhere for him to go, though, as this puck is locked up. And finally does get jarred loose. We guided up ice by Zanetti. Othman fires ahead for Tucker Robertson. And he gets a good push into the boards here from Nolan Allen. He's got the puck now. Robertson looking up high. And Milic catches it with the glove.
Well, the top line for Seattle is dangerous in a lot of different ways. They combined for 75 points plus in the playoffs. Look at the feet work from the first round of the Winnipeg Jets. He cranks it up right out of the defensive zone. Now you push back the defense with speed, and then you draw two guys to you. You dish it to who? Well, pretty good option there with Dylan Gunther with 16 goals in the postseason. Quick feet, quick hands, and that is a lethal combination.
Siona, one-touch pass for Craig Kovic. One-handed it ahead as Beck. He's rattled along the boards by Davidson as the puck comes up to center. Racing in over the line. Lefebvre drops it off for Stillman. Milic makes the save. And puck battles one down low by Owen Beck. Up high for Smith. He missed the mark. Back out of the corner. The pass splits the defenders, and all the way down the ice it comes where Donovan McCoy will pick it up. Tipped in over the line at center by Connor Lockhart. Avon from behind the net, passes off. Milic never saw it. And the call is no goal. Peterslick, they've scored another. This time Connor Lockhart will do the flyby, and we might have another review on this one.
This is a sneaky pass where you go behind the net and you're selling it. I'm going to wrap it around so everybody's thinking that you're going to continue your path, and suddenly it's just a pass back to where you came from. And it was Lockhart that was lurking on the weak side, and you can see there Milic, who is excellent with his vision and IQ. He's not even looking at the shot, and to me, it looks like this one may have just been a positional save, but he doesn't know that he made it. That's the thing. What a release and an even better deceptive pass.
So for the second time in this game, a Peterborough Pete's goal will be under review. The first one counted for Avon. At least on the preliminary replays we could see there, Kevin. I don't think there's anything conclusive to suggest that this would be a goal.
It didn't look like it to me. And the speed of the game, I actually thought it may have gotten in behind him. Again, the reaction from the players on the ice usually tell you a little bit. But you talk about that pass again. Jerry Avon is brilliant and kind of selling that wraparound. And he goes behind that. So Milic bought it. Uh-oh, I'm looking left. Guess what? Puck's coming right there. And you can see a little tip off of Sawyer Mineo, the hometown boy. Gets a piece of it, and maybe that was enough to put it into the chest.
There was no goal on the ice.
And the call is confirmed. No goal for Connor Lockhart, but J.R. Avon has one for the Petes, and Peterborough lead 1-0. Top Prospect Scouting Report is brought to you by Kubota, the official tractor and compact equipment partner of the Canadian Hockey League, as we'll bring in our TSN Director of Scouting, Craig Button. Craig?
And the focus is on Dylan Gunther, and the sense and feel for always being in the right spots on the ice are unbelievably incredible. He's so silky smooth. He makes a hard game look easy, and yeah, he's a finisher. I'll call him a golden finisher.
And with good reason. Golden goal in Halifax to ignite the crowd for World Junior Hockey Championship for Team Canada. Went back to the National Hockey League, where he spent 30-plus games with the Arizona Coyotes this year. His rights were traded from the Edmonton Oil Kings to the Seattle Thunderbirds. There was no guarantees that he would come back, but he was eventually reassigned by the Coyotes and GM Bill Armstrong to the Western League, and he's since been a Seattle Thunderbird.
There was no guarantees that Dylan Guenther would come back from Arizona. There was no guarantees that Brad Lambert, whose rights were traded to Seattle from Saskatoon in the summer, there was no guarantee he would come. I think it's safe to say things worked out pretty darn well for a couple significant factors in this championship team. Look at a full year of hockey. He's been a busy, busy boy, hasn't he? Dylan Guenther, 33 games, 15 points with Arizona. The golden goal with Team Canada, of course, at Christmas. 20 games with Seattle, and then 19 games, 16 goals here in the playoffs. It's been a journey for him, and one that he hopes ends at the top of the mountain.
Not every day you see NHL experience at the Memorial Cup. We did a little bit last year, though, with Jake Neighbors, having played to start the season with St. Louis, then returning to the Edmonton Oil Kings to captain them to a Western Hockey League title where he was teammates with Dylan.
I think of Guenther and his journey, we talk about all the hockey he's played. It reminds me of Mason McTavish.
Just going to bring that one up, too. That's right.
He played in the NHL, he played in the AHL,
Olympics.
He played in the Olympics, he played, I mean, everywhere. It was unbelievable. I think 8 different teams, and he fell just shy of the ultimate prize himself.
Former Peterborough Pete, Mason McTavish, part of a big trade. Last year's deadline is a sharp angle shot. Here, Avon vying for his second. This one's handled by
Knows how to push buttons. He knows who he can push harder than others, and he talked about the Ottawa series. That's the first seed in the league, right? And you go up against them, you lose the first game, I think it was 3-2, Vic, and he came in after the game, he said to his group, that's it, that's all they got, we're not going to beat that. Well, they did. They went on to beat the first seed in 6 games, and of course North Bay the second seed in 7 games before they put London away in 6 games as well. So you talk about a Cinderella story and an underdog story. Rob Wilson's team is all of that.
Well, Kevin, they made a lot of trades leading up to the deadline this year. And then after the deadline in the regular season, they had a losing record. They went 14-16-1 from the trade deadline to the end of the regular season and surprised a lot of people. I don't think people were so surprised given the talent they had on the roster, but given the way they played, a bit of a shock to see them go as far as they did through the OHL Championship Series and eventually beating London in Game 6.
That's the old adage, right? Adversity is only bad if you don't allow it to make you better. Well, they've been through their fair share, and here they are, Memorial Cup.
On the other side of the coin, Seattle nearly flawless after the trade deadline, bringing in all those acquisitions. Haven't missed a beat. Here's Offman, traded from Flint back in November. It's one of the big dominoes to fall. Loose at the side off this shot. It goes back to the corner. And another shot right off of Tucker Robertson. The puck directed up to the line, swung out by McCoy, fluttering puck behind the net, broke off to Guenther. The former Oil Kings played up for Lambert. He finds his man, Kevin Korchinski. Offside, though, is Colton Dock, and the faceoff will come back out to center.
This last shift for Peterborough might be the most sustained pressure they've had in the offensive zone, where they've been opportunistic to this point. And look at that little pass from where that last goal that they thought they had came from, a play from below the net in tight, and then that didn't work. There's the variety. You get it low to high shot, tip, and that one dove at the last second as well. Not easy for Milic. And a couple different ways that the Petes are now starting to get the puck to Seattle's goaltender more.
There's Nolan Allen, former Prince Albert Raiders captain. Started the season with them before a trade saw him come over to Seattle. Let's go Vro into the neutral zone. Malie with Beck. Picked away by Dock. Younger brother of Kirby Dock. He played in the Western Hockey League himself in Saskatoon. Now the Montreal Canadiens. Malie takes a hit from Allen. Minio run into by Stillman. Back to the corner it goes. Colton Dock. Down the boards. Fed off by Malie. Now Minio. Skipped ahead to center for Dock. Past Avon. Dock falls down. Puck's taken away by White. Missed Connor Lockhart with the pass. And icing is waved off as Pickford picks it up.
That last entry attempt from Seattle was Colton Dawkins, and he's got 2 guys to beat, and he tries to do one-on-one. It is not going to work against this Peterborough team. If there's one strength of theirs, it's making sure they clog the ice in front of their goaltender. You got to move the puck.
Jeremy hands the block the centering feed from Dax Dubois as it comes back out to the line. Maillet's shot. Not for Milichever's shot, but it did hit the pad. And Avon has it behind the net. Tried to wrap it around. Picked up by Grinkovic. Seattle flying through the neutral zone in transition. Grinkovic dropped to Hansel. Hansel tied up by Dubois. Avon up for Lockhart. And slipping in on the backhand. Now Hansel up on the wing for Davidson. Davidson over the line. Spots Siona. Gustafsson into the corner. Puck is kicked ahead by Gavin White. Stopped up along the boards right in front of the Pete's bench. It'll come back. And it's settled in behind the net by Brennan Othman. Long stretch pass by David Hayes at center ice. Hayes over center. Pass Korchinski. Directed right to the boards as Wilcox starts the breakout. Pass off of the stick of Tucker Robertson. Another pass intercepted by the Petes. Will be escorted up ice by Connor Smith. Tipped into the air off the stick. Korchinski brings it down. Into the corner he goes. Stillman is there with Jonathan Malee. Gunther to Popovich. And now Minio to center.
Absolutely suffocating. The Peterborough Pete style is clear to identify.
Here's Stillman. His shot redirected off the stick. That ramps up over the glass and out of play. 1-0 early for the Peterborough Petes at a beautiful afternoon in Kamloops, British Columbia.
Well, apparently it's a Memorial Cup tradition and not one that you're expecting me to say. Home dressing, guys. It was happening last year in St. John, and here we are again in Kamloops. More home dressing happening. The practice facility is about 10 minutes from here, so when a team has to practice, they make the drive over in full equipment, just without skates. Home dressing, it's a thing of childhood hockey, youth hockey, and it's here at the Memorial Cup. Incredible vibes, Victor Finlay.
I'll tell you what, Victor, if I can jump in here. Every player misses minor hockey, but no player enjoys that. It's the worst. Having to get dressed and get on a bus or get in a car, pile in and get to the practice rink. That brings back bad memories for everybody.
It's pretty hot out there, too. That's not the easiest walk under the hot British Columbian sun. Of course, we're not going to complain about the weather right now. It's been a beautiful 10-minute walk to the arena for us every day. As it comes out to center with J.R. Avon. Tips it in past Luke Prokop. Picked up by Kevin Korchinski. Sam Popovich through center. Sticked away by Simpson. Sean Spearing getting a look 5-on-5 wearing the full bubble. Underwent jaw surgery a couple weeks ago after blocking a shot in Game 7 against the North Bay Battalion. And he'll go back to the bench to change for the Petes. Broke his jaw in 3 places. And was back in against the London Knights about 8 days later.
Absolute warrior and begging to get back in the lineup. I want to play. I want to be a part of it. Pain isn't real for that man.
We expect to see more of him on the penalty kill should Peterborough find themselves in a shorthanded situation today. As Brad Lambert cruising in, fires a shot wide. Past Allen at the line and out to center for Sawyer Minio. Now Gunther, short pass ahead for Schaefer. Up the middle, take it away. Schaefer swings it right back up high on Simpson. Back down low for Brad Lambert. Off the boards to Allen. Across. Minio fires and Simpson the save as it goes back to the corner. Govro with Maillet and Beck.
No whistle here, boys. No whistle. Play it. Watch the sticks. No cross check.
Referee says play on. Keep it clean. Sam Maillet brings it back in behind his own net. Govro Launches it through center. Maillet delayed offside here. Will just shoot it in. Minio on the breakout. Finds Davidson all by himself. Runs right into the much larger Connor Smith. Big rangy defenseman at 6'5", 206 pounds out of Windsor, Ontario. And Siona lays it across for Pickford. Into the Peterborough zone it comes, not for long. Smith off the glass, out to center for Owen Beck. Smith snaps it up to Lefebvre. Angel will take it. And the Coquitlam BC native plays it right back to center. A couple Coquitlam products in this game. Thomas Miller's got a nice round of applause when he was introduced as the starting goaltender in this contest for Seattle. Back in his home province. As Chase Lefebvre swings in behind his own net. Smith to center. Tipped in. Kevin Korchinski will retrieve it for the T-Birds. Bumped though by Lockhart. Off the boards. Korchinski takes it back. Rushing ahead with him is Nico Mayadovic. Korchinski sends the pass right off the skate of Jax Dubois. Hard hit though from Colton Dock on the far side as he picks it up. That one hurt Connor Lockhart. Slow to his feet as a shot is whistled just wide of the net by Mayadovic, and Prokop missed as well as the puck carries all the way back through center.
Those two chances all came from a big hit from Colton Dock on the body, and then you have to have someone there to gather the puck. A physical hit led to a couple of shots.
Now Zanetti takes a bump. Sachin. Grayson Sachin near the slot, couldn't release it, then Peterborough sent it down the ice for Nolan Allen to settle down.
So important as a team to first and foremost understand, okay, who are we? And we have to deal with our weaknesses, but you play to your strengths. And for me, Peterborough understands exactly who they are and how they have to win, and it's been on full display.
Here's Lambert to Schaefer. Schaefer, the shot, and Simpson makes another save for the Petes. No rebound, and he hangs on tight. Maybe the best look of the game so far for the T-Birds. Lambert to Schaefer, but a big save from Michael Simpson. Here's a look at our intermission panel. First intermission coming up with Lord Eichen, Cheryl Pounder, Greg Button. Plenty of highlights and analysis and a bit of a deeper dive into a couple of good Edmonton, Alberta boys. And Lucas Siona and Luke Prokop reunited as teammates with the T-Birds. Of course, Kevin, they were on opposite sides last year. Prokop was with the Oil Kings, Siona with the Thunderbirds.
Luke Prokop had a chance to talk to him today. He said how much easier it made it on him coming into a dressing room where there's a lot of Edmonton boys, which is where Luke Prokop's from. So he had a lot of built-in friendships right away. It made him settle in quickly, and he is quickly a big part of this culture of this room.
Prokop was another player who was traded to Seattle as a player rights package for conditional picks. He was in the ECHL at the time. As Lucas Siona plays it back, and a sharp angle shot from Jared Davidson is handled. Back toward the boards it goes. Zanetti plays it out in front of his own net, and Simpson will pick up that and cover up for the whistle.
The CHL on TSN is brought to you by Go RVing Canada. Find your wildhood.
Another gorgeous day in Kamloops, British Columbia. Still lots of runway left on this tournament, Kevin. We've got our first chance now to see the OHL and Western League champions. Strong impression, though, yesterday for the champs out of the queue for the Quebec Ramparts.
Boy, they really looked fast and well coached. Patrick Waugh got his team flying. Big 8-3 win against the host team Kamloops Blazers.
See Kamloops again tomorrow. Another afternoon affair, 3 o'clock local time start. It'll be the Blazers against the Peterborough Petes. Highly anticipated matchup coming up too for the Quebec Ramparts and Seattle Thunderbirds. As Luke Prokop to center. Let this one go in deep. Semifinals are set for Friday. We could potentially have a tiebreak situation on Thursday as well, as we'll play the round robin stage throughout the weekend into the start of next week.
Well, you got the top line on the ice for Seattle, and wow, what patience from the Peterborough Petes.
Here's a turnover. Prokop juggled it and couldn't get the shot away clean. Simpson was sprawled out, but he never had to make much of a save.
So knowing who you are and playing to your identity, right? So you're against one of the best lines in all of the CHL potentially. Look at the forecheck or the lack thereof from Peterborough. It's a 1-3-1, and you just guide, you try to cut the ice in half. But the last thing you want to do is get caught above the puck and give an odd man situation back to your goaltender. So a well-coached team, this is our plan. We're going to stay patient. We're going to make them come through us. A really patient, well-executed 1-3-1 between the Blues.
Here's Hansel. Skates it to center, fires out in right off the glass. Peterborough chip it back out through center, and hurrying after it is Jeremy Hansel. Hansel makes a nice play over to Niko Mijatovic. Double clutched it though, and now he'll bring it up ice with Jacques Dubois in tow. Cross-ice pass off the boards comes over to Samuel Maillet. Lockhart not far over the blue line before Jeremy Hansel got it. Gave it away though, and Jonathan Belize shoots it in. Milic around the boards out to center where Gavin White will pick it up. And tipped back in by Chase Stillman. Seattle on the breakout with Davidson. Racing ahead is Jordan Gustafson, property of the Vegas Golden Knights. Takes a spill as Davidson lets her slip it back below the net for Krinkovic. Shot off the body of White. Krinkovic picks it off. Back to the corner it goes again. Krinkovic reels it in behind the net. He's pressured by Smith. Back to the line. Korchinski off on the wing. Davidson run into Owen back up for Chase Stillman, wearing number 61, just like his dad Corey did for a good portion of his NHL career, and his brother Riley currently wears 61 for the Buffalo Sabres.
Dad knows something about winning, doesn't he? Assistant coach for the Arizona Coyotes, won 2 Stanley Cups, played over 1,000 games in the NHL.
Also played in a Memorial Cup too in '93 as a member of the Peterborough Petes. So Chase Stillman, second generation Pete. Brother Riley, too, played a Memorial Cup with the Hamilton Bulldogs in 2018. It was a hard shot from Brennan Hoffman. Back up along the boards where Reed Schaefer corrals it, skating through center with Dylan Gunther. Here's Gunther. Patiently cuts in behind the net. And Hansel looking across for Luke Prokop. Schaefer shielding the puck. Down low to Lambert. Back up high. Prokop for Gunther. Lambert to Gunther again. Long shot. Simpson to save with the rebound. Point blank opportunity for Hansel. He's denied. One-timer coming up from Prokop, and a blocker save made by Simpson as the puck comes back to center.
Well, tons of offensive zone possession here for Seattle, and the Petes are in trouble, or are they? We showed you the patience in the neutral zone and lots of patience in the D zone. Now, I think you're playing with fire if you're going to stand around and let Seattle play with the puck too much, but shot lanes, let your goalie make an easy save from range, and there they flip it out of trouble.
Go, go, go! Hey, you're good, you're good.
Here's Siona, short pass for Davidson, fires away, and the rebound cleared to center off the boards by Lockhart. Siona, the final 20 seconds or so of the first, to the corner, collides with Avon. To the point, Allen on the wing for Siona, tried to get it through. He cleared off the board, stays in. And Peterborough skated around as Seattle record the final 8 shots of this first period of play, but they are down 1-0 to the Peterborough Petes. J.R. Avon with the lone goal for Peterborough, scored it on the breakaway, and the Petes have a 1-0 lead after 20.
The officials were busy in that opening period, but in the end, the Peterborough Petes, the magic continues. 1-0 lead after the first. J.R. Avon doing the honors, and here he is with Julia.
JR, what a start for your team against a really tough Seattle group. What was the message coming into this game?
We just had to play our way. We're a physical team, and when we get pucks deep, we play physical. I don't think teams can handle us, so that's what we did in the first period.
What do you think your team did so well to get that lead?
Like I was saying, just chipping the puck in when we need to and finishing checks. Yeah, just wearing them down. That's what we do good at.
How do you make sure you don't let the Seattle team back in?
Just keep doing what we're doing. The best spot for the puck is in their zone behind their net, so we got to keep doing what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we had not one, but 2 goals reviewed there in the first period, and just that one to show for it. So yes, a 1-0 lead for the OHL champs over the WHL champs as we are at the intermission with Craig, Cheryl, and Laura. All right, well, that start by the Pete's a dream start there with scoring just a minute 24 into the game, but it wasn't necessarily the goal that caught your eye, Craig. It was the miscue by the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, when you're inside the offensive zone blue line and your defensemen are punching down and you're the last guy up, you better understand that you're under massive risk. Sometimes the toughest lessons are the ones that hurt the most, and for Brad Lambert, this one hurts. I mean, he has the puck and he's trying to make a play, but he doesn't recognize that J.R. Avon is fast, quick, closes them off, and you're not catching J.R. Avon when he's moving like this. So when you're in that spot, certain players, skilled players, they want to make a play. Sometimes there's not a play to be made, and the things that can go wrong do go wrong at the most inopportune times. That's what happened for Brad Lambert. It was the benefit to the Peterborough Petes and J.R. Avon.
I 100% agree with you. And Avon, though, makes a real nice play. I almost felt like they were a line across. They were patient, though, and they used an active stick to take that puck away. I thought it was a nice play by him, and then a beautiful finish.
And we know how lights out Thomas Milic has been this entire season, playoffs included, and how much confidence that goal giving the Petes there to get one not even a minute and a half into the first game of the Memorial Cup. All right, well, let's talk about defense. We got the former defender here, so we have to, of course. And when it comes to Seattle, we emphasize how many draft picks? 10 NHL draft picks, 5 first-rounders. We know the firepower there, putting pressure on that Pete's defense, but that's how they like it.
Well, it really is. And when you come to collective team defense, it is a 5-man unit, and it's also your goaltender. So you have to make sure that you're connected. We're seeing them shut down the neutral zone. That's exactly what they wanted to do, whether it was a 1-3-1 or a 1-4 set. They did a good job of that. And then when they were getting into their zone, they were clogging the middle and deflecting to the outside, being real aggressive with their sticks when they recognized that someone was isolated, but also being patient enough to recognize, hey, when can I get into the shooting lane? Zanetti was huge in this game, number 9, stepping out, recognizing how to get in that shot lane, boxing out in front, and establishing that stick position. That secondary layer, also finding a way to get up and contesting. When you contest and you surf up like that, when you're skating up and you steer with your stick, you have that ability to really shut down. And when you shut down early, that is critical. You talk about the 1-3-1, the neutral zone, right? When you're in that situation, you're forcing that dump in. And when you force a dump in, this is right into the hands of the Pete, because they want to play physical. They're saying, hey, you want to put it in deep? I'm not giving you any speed off the rush. I'm going to find a way to tear you up, down low, and along the wall.
Anybody that watched the game yesterday with the Quebec Ramparts and the way they play defense, it's like a replication here with the Peterborough Petes.
Yep, connected.
Lather, rinse, repeat. Another big storyline coming into this game between Seattle and Peterborough. Obviously, the goaltenders, the WHL playoff MVP going up against the OHL playoff MVP. So far, advantage for Michael Simpson.
I said that at the outset of the game.
You did, you're right, you're right. Is this the answer you want, Laura?
On that one. Don't leave me hanging.
Anyway.
You left me hanging.
Yeah, you didn't take a position. I did. Anyway, Michael Simpson, early in the game, the Seattle Thunderbirds were pushing it, the Peterborough Petes. There was a sense of calm in the net with Michael Simpson. You watch him, his eyes are on the play, his positioning is real. He's not busy in the net. You just watch him move, economy of effort, making sure that he gets to the right spots, cleans up in front of him, punching the puck out of harm's way. He was terrific in that period. From a from a point of view of poise and composure, absolutely no pucks got by him. But that's what you need from your goaltender, especially early and all the way right to the end. Michael Simpson was as advertised.
Well, he really was. He made 230 saves in that 6-game series against the Knights, right? So it's also timeliness of those saves. You know you're up against a team with a ton of firepower, and you know he's going to have to make that big one, right? They're opportunistic. They find a way to get a goal, but if you're looking at possession time, you know that Seattle has had a lot of it. Now it's about getting that timely save. I think that he's been real strong in the crease and positionally sound. Quiet feet. He's quiet. He looks composed in there.
You know, we've been working too long together, because I was going to say the same thing. He was a workhorse against London, faced 29 shots in all 6 games. Yep. 2 games he faced 50. Here in the first period, 15. So it could be another very busy day for him, but maybe just like the defense, that's the way he likes it, right? When our intermission continues, they went from friends to foes to teammates. We'll take a closer look at the friendship between Seattle Thunderbirds' Luke Prokop and Lucas Siona. All that's left to do at the Men's World Hockey Championship is hand out the medals. Canada in the gold medal game for the 4th straight tournament, while this is the very first time for Germany guaranteed a medal for the first time since 1953. 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific is when our coverage of the gold medal game gets underway. Well, Lucas Siona and Luke Prokop were in an interesting situation last year. Friends on the opposite side of battle, and it was Prokop's Edmonton Oil Kings who got the better of Siona's Seattle Thunderbirds to book its spot in the Memorial Cup. But now, a year later, they're teammates on the same side, going for the same goal, and that is to win Seattle's first Memorial Cup.
I mean, we've known each other for a little while. I mean, we were both at NAX together, kind of, you know, we weren't on the same team, but we just missed each other by a year, but kind of started to hang out there and, I mean, become friends there. But, I mean, mostly it became in the last 3 years, you know, hanging out with a bunch of other friends and just in the same groups. And, you know, we started golfing with each other quite a bit more. And, you know, it's been friendship ever since then.
I think this was through mutual friend groups. Obviously, we played hockey together, or hockey growing up against one another, just being a year apart, so we'd always play each other. And then over just the past few summers, gotten closer and closer, and golfed together in the summers, and just hang out a lot.
The horn sounds, the wait is over. The Edmonton Oil Kings sit at their throne once again. They are crowned the 2022 Western Hockey League champions.
Obviously, last year was unbelievable. I think that, you know, I saw how hard that group wanted to win, and it was kind of their last push at it. They built around kind of my age group, and, you know, we saw you had a lot of 19-year-olds that year, and winning with that group of guys was unbelievable. They were so awesome.
You know, I couldn't thank the coaching staff and Kurt Hill enough for bringing me on this journey. It'll be something I remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, I felt really bad for Lucas. You know, him and Jared, I've known them for a long time, and I know how hard of a grind it is to get to the finals, and to come up short, just I could feel the taste in their mouth.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we lost. It was pretty tough. You know, happy for him, good for him, good for their team, but I mean, you know, it was disappointing, definitely. I mean, I know we texted each other, I think, one time before the championship started, kind of saying good luck, but after that it was kind of just, you know, we're going at it. So I mean, you know, it was, you know, good for him, but, you know, at the same time it was pretty disappointing for us. I had management come and ask me about it a little bit, about him just as a character and a guy, and asked me what he would think about coming to play for the Thunderbirds, and I, you know, had already been talking with Luke quite a bit about it.
When I started to figure out that there's going to be an opportunity to come back to the Western League, and you know, I was thinking about my 20-year-old year. I want to be able to have a chance to go for another championship, and, you know, seeing the group of guys they had last year, I think they were maybe a little bit too young, and kind of built around the age group the year before me. So I knew this year was going to be their chance, their year, and yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy. I talked with Lucas kind of throughout the whole process, and, you know, letting him know I wanted to come, and, you know, updating him on things that were going on my side, and he was updating me on his side, and I'm lucky enough to work out.
Again, 15 players were on that Seattle team last year that came up just short and are here now in Kamloops, but find themselves down a goal as we head to period number 2.
Have a look at our first period scoring summary. We had to double check it, but a minute 24 in, call was confirmed that J.R. Avon has his first of the tournament. The only goal of the tournament thus far for the Peterborough Petes.
Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, right? That's what I would describe that first period like. The rope-a-dope. The Peterborough Petes were really patient, weren't they, Pete? Where they almost set a trap and they allowed kind of Seattle to attack. So 15 shots on net, but not a whole lot of grade A high-quality danger chances against. A lot from range because of the smothering defense in all three zones. You don't just play defense in your own defensive zone. It's all three zones, and they were really good. Really patient, and sometimes you almost kind of could call it boring hockey, but if you're winning, you're having fun. And you can see the neutral zone 1-3-1 come through us, we dare you, and you have to go through one or two defenders with sticks all over the place. It was a game plan for me that was bought into clearly and executed to near perfection. Two shots on net, you know that you're going to give up shots against a team like Seattle who has a ton of talent, but I thought that they were able to mitigate that and dictate their play. They made Seattle play their game in that first period. Let's see how Seattle responds and the in-game adjustments that they make here in the second.
So re-rack here for the opening face-off with Tucker Robertson versus Jared Davidson. And Robertson directs it back. Seattle carried in over the line. They don't get far with it, though. Robertson pushes it back ahead. And the Seattle Thunderbirds look to break out of their own zone with Davidson. Pass for Hansel. Over the line, Siona. To the corner. Davidson dodges a hit from Avery Hayes. Connor Smith back behind his own netminder Simpson. Picked off by Siona. Kunkovic up the middle. It comes over to Lambert. He shoots. Scores! Simpson caught a piece, but it winds up behind him, and Lucas Siona opens the scoring for the T-Birds.
Well, the adjustment. Let's make sure that we're patient. Look at that high ice. So you read a play and you jump to the offensive side. That's an excellent job sealing the wall. And, oh, yeah, we're a team that goes to the net. Let's make sure we get back to what we do. This is a good job. Siona gives the puck up, takes his feet to the blue paint, and there's the gift that you earn. A little rebound in tight behind Simpson. He's been pretty clean with these. That one not so much, and a tap in for Lucas Siona in the first minute of the second period. Game on.
A big season for Lucas Siona. He had 17 goals, 35 points a year ago. He improved to 28 goals and 75 points this season for the Thunderbirds. As this play is whistled down, the faceoff will come back at center ice.
You look at the patience, right? So you want to make sure that you're in the right spots so that you can create turnovers. And there it is. It's Lucas Siona. He's on the defensive side of his guy. Then he reads the little play that's coming up the wall. Then he steps to the offensive side. That's brilliant. Really good read, hockey IQ, and that led to the goal. All number 47. He started it and he ended it.
Seattle back in the road zone. Kevin Korchinski off the boards ahead for Schaefer. Spills Chase Stillman down to the ice. Cam Gauvreau. Ahead for Owen Beck. Off to Stillman. Good poke check from Kevin Korchinski. Separates the puck as they both crash to the boards. Lambert off to Gunther. Listed through center. Swatted in by Reed Schaefer. And Simpson takes a bit of a nudge there from Brad Lambert. Back to his feet as Sam Maie trying to thread it in toward the net. Seattle take it back in transition. Here's Colton Dock. Sachin and Niko Majanovic. Colton Dock, one hands it down low. Sachin to the point. Pickford sails the shot wide. Poked out by Minnie over the corner for Dock. Majanovic swings it around. Sachin trying to play off into the slot. Be taken by Gavin White. Off to Lockhart. Lockhart moves it in. Majanovic. Grayson Sachin, draft eligible. this season as such. First year in Western League, played a year at the USNCDP, and then joined the T-Birds this year after his rights were traded from the Red Deer Rebels, who originally drafted him. Siona off to Jared Davidson. Bouncing puck at the line. Robertson takes a knock from Allen, but Hayes comes in over the line of transition. Avon couldn't field the pass clean. Milic poked it away. And Avon finishes his hit on Jeremy Hanschel as Nolan Allen clambers out to center. Passed off to Krinkovic between his legs. He touched it for offside.
Let's check out the defensive play and all the responsibilities that go along with it in the neutral zone. And you got Nolan Allen. He's going to step up. Watch number 2. He's on the body. His partner Hansel comes over. Okay, who's in the middle of the ice? That's Lucas Siona covering for his aggressive-minded defenseman, and that is being connected defensively. He gets the goal offensively, but he knows his responsibilities, but he doesn't have the puck. That's an excellent coverage back to his own net.
Milic stops it for Korchinski, around for Gunther. Absorbs a pretty good hit there from Chase Stillman. Stillman scored 19 goals in the regular season. He's a first-round pick to the Devils, but he loves to throw his weight around. One of the best body checkers in the OHL this season is Brad Lambert. Plays it to the line, not out. Smith down low, off the boards. Lambert handles it again. Now Kevin Korchinski flies it out to center ice. In past Smith. Simpson will just fire it into the corner. Brad Lambert knocked down along the wall. Out to McCoy. Gustafson's draped all over him. He'll get some support here from Dylan Gunther to try and work it loose. Smith, McCoy, back all digging away for the Petes. And the maroon and white take it away as Avery Hayes will skate to center. And a low shot, easy one for Thomas Milic. And with Brennan Oppin bearing down, he'll cover up.
I can tell you, like the Peterborough Petes, and you have a good feel for them. I've watched the Seattle team now for the last couple of years. So last year, their mantra was one more day. We want one more day together as a group in the playoffs, and they fended off 6 elimination games. So they've felt anxiety. They've been under pressure, and as a group, they've learned to be able to perform in high-pressure situations. So they come out in the first period, although they had 15 shots, I didn't like their game. I didn't think they were organized. I thought that they were out-executed in a game plan. They go in, the coach probably says all the right things. They come out, they look like a completely new team. I think you have to go through tough times to be able to deal with tough times, and it looks to me like they made nice adjustments here. They're back on the ball.
Here's Chase Lefebvre. Snaps the pass they had for Avery Hayes. Lifted in over top of Minio. And the T-Birds will take it back up to center. Nico Majadovic. 30 goals for him in the regular season as a draft-eligible player. Sawyer Minio in the corner off to Colton Dock. Dock trying to slip away from the pressure. Lefebvre bangs it off the boards to center for Allen. And in it comes for Gavin White. And he'll find Avery Hayes up ice. He spots Tucker Robertson. Robertson dropping for Hayes. Sends it right across the crease. Maé looking back to the net. That was blocked. He'll turn it right back around. Jeremy Hanschel looking up the center. That's stopped then in its tracks by Tucker Robertson. Delayed offside here. Pete's have to vacate the zone. Jeremy Hanschel moves it ahead through center. Krinkovic over the line. Lockhart takes it back. Stretch pass, he wanted J.R. Avon cross ice. It'll be taken here by Jax Dubois with Avon in front. There's Lockhart with a shot, and Milic makes the save. Back pass, Govro, it comes all the way down ice.
Like, where did that come from? You talk about being opportunistic, right? You kind of lull the game's being controlled by Seattle. In one little forecheck play, the puck pops to a guy right net front and a grade A chance.
Another bouncer right in front. Looked like a bit of a broken play. The initial pass to Avon missed the mark, but the Petes made something of it anyway as they'll touch it here for offside. Seattle have their answer for the Peterborough Petes. It's Lucas Siona chopping it through on the doorstep to tie the game at 1.
The CHL on TSN is proudly presented by BetRivers.com. It's a whole new game.
Well, if you don't have a goal, then you don't have a direction. Every team has a goal and a mission statement. Here's Seattle's. Make history. That's on their door. That's on T-shirts. They've never won a Memorial Cup. And if they need a place to reload and mentally, if they have to get back to basics, here's a contract. All the things that mean all the things to that team is on a poster in their room. Every player has signed that. They've agreed to it. They came up with all of those things together. And it is what makes them who they are. Their identity, their mission statement. And they are looking to make history here. 3 times to the Memorial Cup, and they've never taken it home.
Matter of fact, Kevin, they've only ever won 1 game at the Memorial Cup. That was their very first back in '92. They were the hosts that year. They beat Verdun 5-3, and they've lost 6 straight since then.
You do your homework, buddy. That's impressive.
There's a long, rich history to this tournament, Kevin. So I didn't read up on all 103 years of this tournament. It was 102 years prior to this.
Well, I knew that you
do what I can.
The rule books from all 3 leagues. I knew you did that.
Riveting reading material on the flight over here. Gustus tries to shoot it through. It's Chase Stillman who brings it ahead to center. Connor Smith.
There's so much to think about in this tournament from our perspective, or your perspective as a play-by-play guy. There's rules that don't transfer from league to league. There's a kicking rule. There's coaches' challenges, all the different things you need to know.
And of course, the coaches and players have to be aware of that as well. And it comes back to the line for Nolan Allen. Of course, we see Owen back on the ice for the Peterborough Peach right now, but still technically suspended in the OHL. We can get to that later as right on cue. There's another infraction here. We're going to get our first power play of the game. And it will be to the Seattle Thunderbirds on the man advantage.
Yeah, and this is them just
Peterborough, minor penalty for hooking.
Building their game off the wall, and it's Krinkovic. He does a good job. Look at the way he protects it. He's not a big man, but wily old veteran, right? He feels the stick in his midsection. You make sure it stays there. Watch his left arm. There's the stick. I'm going to keep it. I'm going down. Hopefully the referee's arm goes up, and it does for the first time tonight.
So the Seattle Thunderbirds, who were 3 for 13 on the power play in the WHL Championship Series against the Winnipeg Ice. They were almost 30%, 29.8% to be specific, in the playoffs on the power play. And they'll set it up here with Jeremy Hangel to Kyle Krinkovic. Down low, Sachin. For Krinkovic. Hansel, Verdun takes the shot, spearing the block, and there is shot spearing on the penalty kill as we anticipated, and surprises blocking shots despite the broken jaw. As it comes back to Hansel, off the dock again. Siona and Sachin both in front of the net. Here's Hansel to Krinkovic. Quick pass, Doc. Not much on the shot. And Brian Giannetti on the backhand. Chance to clear, he does. And Hansel, trouble handling it. Here's Avon, and he fires the shot wide. Threatening shorthanded.
Good job from Hansel there as he loses puck and body position as well, but he gets a little piece of Avon, and that was enough to disrupt him from getting the shot he wanted.
Pete's had 3 shorthanded goals in the OHL playoffs. As here comes Beck and fires that shot right off the shin guard of Hansel. In over the line. Sachin carries around the net. Drifting high in the slot. And she go off to Kevin Korchinski. Krinkovic for Lambert. Lambert lost it, and back escaped to center. They'll bring it in over the line. Another nice stick here for Korchinski, knocks it away.
That was what Craig Button talked about in the first period in the intermission, right? That 5-on-5 play from Lambert that led to the goal against. This is power play, but you still have to execute as a skilled player. If you're going to be creative in high ice, you have to make sure you've got it out.
Here's Korchinski, waiting, shoots. Simpson kicks it out. Korchinski passes off to Gunther. Now Davidson to Lambert, waiting, passes again. Here's Korchinski up high. Lambert, cross ice, and a stick from Smith knocks it away. McCoy out of the box. 4-on-1 for the Pates. Across, Robertson fanned on the shot. Pete's got the look, didn't get the shot. As Maye gloves it down and takes a sharp angle look on Milic. And back out through center ice it comes. Gavin White to settle it down.
Well, there'll be more in-game adjustments required if Seattle is able to get another power play, because that one didn't go well at all. And the penalty kill for the Petes did. They were excellent at keeping everything to the perimeter. They were in the shot lanes, and then eventually you force the puck out of your zone. Excellent job with a good stick defensively, and it leads to the old 4-on-1 shorthanded right as the penalty expires. But really, you didn't get the sense they were in any real danger defensively on the penalty kill, and the best chance of the power play as it expires belongs to the Peterborough Petes and Tucker Robertson.
Moved in by the Thunderbirds through Schenner for Simpson behind the net. And up the boards, Hoffman slips it through for Chase Stillman. Stillman racing ahead with White. Moved to the near side by Milic. A fave out there as well for the Petes as Popovich turns it over. Thanks to some good work from Hoffman, and Chase Stillman got a piece of Minio. Trying to evade that hit more so than throw it as it comes back through center with Sawyer Minio off to Niko Mijanovic. Mijanovic off the wing fires a shot wide, and Popovich takes a bunch from Lockhart. Back to the corner. Puck is still loose. Thrusted ahead by Lefebvre to center. Maillet chipping it past Schaefer. In on Nolan Allen. He'll just move it around. Behind the netminder Milic. Here's Hoffman. Works it high into the slot. Off the Cam Gauvreau. Oh, and a bit of a late spot there for Thomas Milic, but he kicked it away just the same. And Davidson skates it in with Schaefer. Pinballed off a body. And back around it comes. It's cut off along the boards by Zanetti. And out to center ice where it's shot in by Nolan Allen. Gauvreau. Pass too hot for Brian Zanetti. And will come around though for J.R. Avon. Connects with Max Dubois. Swatted away by Hansel. And now Schaefer. Skates it in behind that. Wanted to drop it out in front for Siona. Davidson there as well, and Simpson smothers it in the goal mouth. 8:16 to go in the second period of play. Ramping up the physicality today in Kamloops.
Well, Sidney Crosby is a two-time CHL Player of the Year. He's a QMJHL champion. He's also played in this tournament. He knows a thing or two about dreaming big. All of the guys out on the ice look up to him right now. And outside of the Seattle Thunderbirds dressing room, they have this great quote from Sidney Crosby. Dreams are so important. You need to have big goals and expect a lot of yourself, but you have to enjoy the ride too. Thunderbirds dreaming of their first ever Memorial Cup. Victor.
Yeah, Sidney knows this tournament well. 0-5 Rimouski, but lost that year in the final to the London Knights.
Yeah, you know what? There's so many stories about Sidney Crosby. I had the pleasure of talking with Sid a few years ago, and I asked him, when did you know you were going to be great? He goes, I was around 10 years old as a Pete's get a chance off the rush. That's extinguished. He said that he had a coach that loved to condition them, bag skate, and he says, I loved it. I was having fun. I knew that I was going to be good at the game because of that.
This puck here at the side around Thomas Milic. Pushed back to the line. Hard drive from Connor Smith. That rocket's well off the mark. This is where a lot of great careers are forged in the early stages, just like once for Sidney Crosby back in his day. Of course, the season Connor Bedard had with the Regina Pats. Primed to go first overall in this summer's NHL entry draft. And some excellent players here too in this very tournament. Is on the short side. Shot from Hayes doesn't get through to Milic. Bolton Dock skates it out through center. 8 first-rounders between these two teams alone. Loads of future NHL talent is it's sent in from center. Lucas Siona. Here's Gavin White. Off to Maillet. Connecting with Jonathan Millie through center. It's deflected off Hansel. Pete's pick it up, and a very sharp angle. Avery Hayes was the Draisaitl zone down there, looking top shelf.
South of the goal line, and he's looking to bank it off the back shoulder of Milic.
Back through center, Nolan Allen tapped off the boards for Siona. Right off the leg of this man Hayes as there's a collision at center. Back at Siona. And Siona didn't like that. He goes right back at Owen Beck. There's going to be a penalty on this play.
Yeah, Lucas Siona, the captain of Seattle, did not like that one bit from Owen Beck. Chris Critch, the two-time WHL official of the year, has his arm up right there, and it was a knee-on-knee. Good to see Siona get up quickly, but frustrated, to say the least.
Well, we saw a knee-on-knee collision in the first game last night. That was reviewed. They called that one originally a 5-minute major yesterday against Charles Truchon. That was reduced down to a minor. This one just gets called 2.
Yeah, and look at he's trying to hit with the shoulder, and then you can see Siona is trying to avoid the hit. So again, I think there's no intent here to hit with the knee. It does happen, but I think it's Siona trying to get out of the way, and in fairness, it was Owen Beck trying to lead with the shoulder to finish the hit. Little message sending there, pass the notes at center ice, and Seattle will go to the power play for their second time. They weren't very good on the first one. We'll see if they've made some adjustments.
So back in the box, T-Birds are 0 for 1 off the draw. Here's Schaefer to the backhand, and Simpson sprawled out, makes the save and hangs on for the whistle.
Quick attack from Reed Schaefer, and you talk about starting on time. So off the face-off, it's a 50-50. Look at the way he takes it from his skate to his stick, and he does not break stride. Takes his momentum right to the crease. The big man plowing a path to the net, and look at that left leg from Simpson. Are you kidding me? Keeps it out of trouble.
Already off to a better start here as Lambert fires a shot right off of Sean Spear. And that's 2 blocks tonight on the PK for the Pete's captain. Lambert. Moved over to Kevin Korchinski. Now Dylan Gunther wheeling ahead over the line. Schaefer to Korchinski. For Davidson. Now Lambert. Korchinski to Gunther. Back to Korchinski, quick shot, and a blocker save made by Simpson. There's Lambert. And the stick handle away, and it is cleared by Donovan McCoy.
You can see one little bobbled puck, and the puck's down 200 feet, and Seattle knows they have to be really crisp because you've got a patient but aggressive penalty kill from the Petes. They know when to slow, they know when to go. Small margin for error.
Stopped at the line. Out to center. Here comes Tucker Robertson. Shoots from the middle. Rockets off the blocker of Milic and high out of play into the protective netting.
Well, you can see how clean you have to be, and if you're not, you can see the price that you're going to pay if you're not. So here's Lambert. You can see he's scanning for options, but again, it's a turnover in high ice. I don't necessarily like the way Lambert has been managing the puck in this game so far. So the turnover on entry when you're on the power play turns into a shot against because you don't get the puck to an option. You don't get it down low in the offensive zone. You hand it over for free, and Peterborough more than willing to take advantage.
Jeremy Hansel slows it down behind his own net, and he'll start up ice. And scoop it back for Kyle Krinkovic. For Saskatoon Blade. Krinkovic up high for Hansel. Sauchin had it poked away by Avery Hayes. He's quickly after it. Tied up though with Jeremy Hansel as Sauchin picks it back up.
But Peterborough has forced that turnover in high ice multiple times in this game, whether 5-on-5 or on the penalty kill. They're brilliant at it.
Here's Colton Dock. Keeping it away from Tucker Robertson. He banks it off the boards right between the defenders though. And the power play is set to expire. Owen Beck returns to the ice. 2 shots on 5-on-4 for the Thunderbirds. Siona from the wing. That one hit Zanetti. Took a bite out of him as he slowed to his feet. Stays on there though, and comes to him here with Siona. Taken away by Beck. And Owen Beck starts to head up ice. Through center. Here's Beck. Full steam ahead. Scores! What a rush! Owen Beck end to end, and Peterborough have a 1-goal lead.
Draws jaws dropped and people up on their feet because this is electric. Look at this, a true 200-foot play as Owen Beck winds this up right from behind his goal, and his feet don't stop. He's riding the bike and crossing over. Look at that. He's driving right, shot goes left, blocker side on Milic. Precisionally placed inside that far post. Look at that. Look at him off to the races. Popowich trying not to take a penalty, trying to catch him. Well, that didn't happen. And this beautiful release off the rush, and the Petes get their lead back.
Owen Beck has always had a rocket of a shot, but I don't think we've seen him go end-to-end quite like he has in Game 2 of this year's Memorial Cup. Peterborough back on top 2-1 with Beck's first of the tournament. All the way down the ice. It's going to be iced by the Peterborough Petes. What a beauty from Owen Beck. From his own zone to the back of the net. 2-1 lead for the Peterborough Petes.
Well, let's look back to Game 5 in the series against the London Knights. This is Owen Beck. That on the top of your screen, it was a slew foot, and there it is. So he was given a 2-game suspension, and he missed Game 6, and he's here and did not miss a game. The NHL takes jurisdiction. They overruled it, so he'll serve his next game at the beginning of next regular season. Here we are in his first game in the tournament that he otherwise would not have been in, and he goes 200 feet with an electric shot and a second goal of the game for the Petes.
So it's important to know that there is some discrepancies here between the rule books. So the OHL is the only of the 3 junior hockey leagues under the CHL that have the Auto 2 for slew footing. So the NHL took that into consideration as well when re-reviewing that and considered him to be eligible for this year's Memorial Cup. Here's Cam Govro from the line. Shot doesn't get through. Another block there for Kevin Korchinski, sprawled out on the ice. And he is laboring right now as the Seattle Thunderbirds will come back through center with Jared Davidson. Passes back. Krinkovic scores! Far down for Kyle Krinkovic. And the T-Birds answer right back.
Well, there has been a lot of counters in this game, and you talk about the block shots that the Peterborough Petes have had. Well, how about that one right there from net front? That's Kevin Korchinski. So he sells out to get the puck into the hands of Davidson. So this is a 3-on-2. Davidson wisely drives the puck deep into the offensive zone. He pulls the defender with him. Look at there, 2-on-1, and then he just lays it into the second layer right there. Krinkovic steps into that one and tucks it under the bar. That's his 7th goal, or pardon me, at 6 in the playoffs. That's his first of this Memorial Cup. What a release and an even better pass. That was wise play and a heady pass from Davidson.
Krinkovic had a monster year last year, Kevin. 94 points. Good enough for 5th overall in the Western League. That went down to 68 this year. Still a point-per-game player for the Seattle Thunderbirds, but he's seen his role reduced a little bit given that he's on such a deep Seattle team. As Donovan McCoy gets to play it ahead. Gunther takes it away. Blocker save from Michael Simpson. As it goes back to the corner for Schaefer. Gets some support from Lambert. It comes back up the wing, taken in by Hayes. Hoffman laying over, looking for Smith as it's taken away. There's Lambert at the line. And this is going to be offside.
Well, we showed you quick feet from Owen Beck, and he went 200 feet for a great goal. Want to see some quick feet from a goaltender? This is a good shot from a pure sniper. Dylan Gunther. It changes direction. Look at that right leg. So the puck changes direction, and that leg kick is athletic. And you haven't seen Simpson have to abandon structure very often, but he does there to make a reactionary save. And then how about the gap right there defensively from Donovan McCoy? Up on the play, reads it through the neutral zone and kills that play immediately.
Dubois wins the faceoff back for the Petes. Sean Spearing out there again with Brian Zanetti on this defensive pairing. And Sawyer Mineo directs it up ice for Jordan Gustafson. Leaves it for Mineo off the wing. Big sprint in front for Colton Dodd. And Simpson hangs on. Big crowd draws in front of him.
So this is a prototypical scoring opportunity for Seattle. They can score in different ways, but this is what they'll do if they've got nothing else. Just hold it, wait until you have traffic. The big body of Colton Dock, and he forces that puck to go through him. I think it actually even hits him, but you talk about guys like Davidson, Siona, Schaefer, Dock, right? They're there, and you shoot to the net, make sure that you're there, take the eyes away from the goaltender, and that over time becomes extremely exhausting to deal with if you're a goaltender and a defenseman.
All 6'4", 205 pounds of Dock in front of him is the stick of Jared Davidson. Snaps it too, right at the blade. And the Petes will bring it through center. High shot from Connor Smith is handled relatively easily by Thomas Milic for the whistle.
Jared Davidson with the beautiful pass in the second goal from Seattle. He's the passer, but he's known more for his shooting abilities. 11 goals in the playoffs, and this guy has a bomb. Watch this stick explode. You're not going to see it because the blade flies out of your screen, but it nearly cleared the back mesh, which is up, I'd say about 50 feet, folks, from ice level, and it was way up there. The velocity on that shot, Davidson can let it fly as he lets a Scud missile go.
99 career goals in the Western League for the T-Birds over 4 years. That's 15th all time for Seattle.
And he was an invite to Seattle.
That's right, undrafted.
Undrafted, and he gets drafted in this +2 year to the Montreal Canadiens in the 5th round. One of those guys that nothing really came easily, right? He had a lot of belief put in him from the Seattle Thunderbirds. He took advantage of opportunities. And you talk about all-time scorers in franchise history. He's 3rd all-time in the playoffs, and he trails only Matthew Barzal and Ethan Bear. He's been excellent this season. He was a big contributor last year. He leads in goals in the postseason for the franchise, and has been everything for this team.
At 39 points in his first 3 seasons combined, and he exploded for 42 goals last year as Michael Simpson hangs on tight to this for the whistle. A conversation there with Dylan Gunther in the corner. Line up back on the glove hand side of Simpson for the face-off. Owen Beck versus Brad Lambert. Owen Beck well over 60% all season long in the face-off dot, but he loses this one to Lambert. Off the wing, and another quick whistle here as the shot from Gunther is absorbed.
The CHL on TSN is brought to you by Go RVing Canada. Find your wild hood.
For 1:31 to go in period number 2, and our second intermission is coming your way shortly after the conclusion of this period with Laura, Cheryl, and Craig perched up right there in the corner at Sandman Center. Perfect view of the action. Another nice crowd on hand today for Game 2 of the 2023 Memorial Cup presented by Kia. They've been treated to a good contest so far with this game tied at 2 late in the second period. Sean Spearing is off to Hoffman. Racing ahead is Robertson. Looking short side. That one hit the iron. Trying to squeeze it in on Milic. It's the second time this period the Petes have tried it, and that one almost cashed in.
Well, lots of physicality in the game, and a couple of big ones in this shift alone. It was Tucker Robertson up on Nolan Allen on the body in the neutral zone. Look at that hit. It takes him nearly right up off of his feet, and you know what? Allen's going to remember that, and he does later in the same shift. One-on-one, bam, return favor. But look at the way Robertson fights through that, and man, that's off the plumbing, and he's trying to bank it off the ear, off the shoulder. He'll take anything. That's like right on the goal line, and look at the precision. That is awfully close. And look at the second effort from Milic to seal that top corner. No daylight whatsoever.
I mean, to Milic's credit, Kevin, there was no space for that puck to get through, was it?
Close, but you know what? He sealed it, and he's not a big man. Like, he's not a big, it's the reason he's not drafted, but you can see the way that he got that shoulder up there, the compete to take the top half of the net away, and he had to, because that shot was, it had eyes.
Thomas Milic stands at exactly 6'1" officially.
I don't believe it. I don't think he's 6'1". He doesn't look that big to me. I don't know that for sure, but That might be generous.
When he's standing on his gold medals, he's 6'1".
Yeah, there you go. You know what? Daniel Hauser was the goalie for the Winnipeg Ice as well, and he's 5'11". But you talk about two elite goaltenders at this level that aren't drafted, but boy, are they able. And I got the feeling, and I think it's not a hard bet that Milish will be drafted this summer.
Contact here on the corner for Ray Vaughn as Lockhart takes it away. Milish makes the pad save. Second period winding down. Puck crawls down the ice, and they're going to blow the whistle with officially 0.3 left on the clock. They might add a little bit of time here off the ensuing faceoff.
You know, Seattle will go back to the locker room here feeling much better about themselves than they did after the first period, where they, you know, get their legs under them, some nerves, but that's true for both teams, but they were outplayed in the first. Well, this is the sign of an educated club and a well-coached team where you go in, you settle down, you make a couple of adjustments. You don't want to overdo it, and I think they came out and they looked like a completely different team here. The shots are 26-18 in favor of Seattle, but they've been able to even the scoring 2-2 after 40.
Pizza pulled the goaltender with just 0.3 left on the clock. They'll be hard pressed to get anything to off this draw, and it won't matter anyway as Colton Dock wins it back. And our second period comes to an end. Seattle tied it up early, then goals on either side have this contest tied at 2.
Lucas Siona, the captain, got the scoring started there in that second period. We're all knotted up at 2s. Let's hear from him now with our Julia Chicheri.
Lucas, a great first 40 minutes of hockey. How would you describe the first 2 periods?
Yeah, we're just getting comfortable with the game here. I mean, it's seeing a new team, so it's a little different. But, I mean, you know, we're playing well, but, you know, we want a little bit more from ours.
Just like you mentioned, a new team in Peterborough. Is there anything you're getting from them that you weren't expecting?
Not too much you're not expecting. I mean, they're a really good hockey team, but, I mean, you know, not too much. I mean, we watched a good amount of video on them and, you know, studied them a little bit, but now it's just up to us to play the game.
Okay, 20 minutes to decide the game. What's going to be the difference?
We just got to get our lines, make sure we're getting our shot blocks and getting shots through. I mean, we get the shots through, something's going to go in at some point. We get the lines through, something's going to happen. So, I mean, just keep playing the simple game and it's going to happen.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So if the first period was all about goal reviews, I mean, the theme kind of with this game right now is quick goals right off the hop as we welcome you here again into our intermission coverage with Craig, Cheryl, and Laura. So in the first period, the goal came a minute 24 in, and Seattle's like, no, we can do a little bit better than that, right, Cheryl?
Yeah, they did. 39 seconds in, and it was a different team to start that second period. The temperature, it was flying. It was heating up to start the period, and real nice play, and it all happens because of some pressure in the offensive zone. And look at Tucker Robertson brings it behind the net, but then he flies the zone. So this is key. Nice play by Krinkovic there to steer up the wall. Siona's able to get it to Lambert because guess what? Tucker Robertson had flown the zone. That puck comes back down, and of course they're able to get it. So again here, sealing the wall above the puck. That is critical to get that turnover, and then Lambert jumps on it, gets the shot, and they're cleaning up the business. Is Siona out front. So it's all about recognizing where you are on the ice, making sure you're protecting the middle. And of course that couldn't happen when you're flying the zone, but it's all about the stick steer of Krinkovic as well. It's all about pushing to the wall. When you push to the wall, guess what? Siona recognized how to seal it.
It was an eventful period for 2 players, one on each side. Siona, the goal scorer, and he was also on the wrong end of that knee-on-knee from Owen Beck. What did you think of all of this, Craig?
Well, here's what I think. I think that Owen Beck is far too valuable a player for the Peterborough Petes to get himself into these types of situations. Keep in mind, he got suspended for 2 games for a slew foot in the Peterborough-London series. He got suspended for 2 games. He did not play in Game 6. The Peterborough Petes were able to win that game without him. Here's the slew foot from that game, and you know you cannot do these things if you're on back because you're too valuable. So then what ends up happening ends up with a 2-minute minor for Dean. It very well could have been a 5-minute major, but you got to be careful when you're in this situation, because this is his value right here. This is how good Owen Beck is. And it's not just the fact that he's in the penalty box, but when you put yourself into the disciplinary aspect where you could be missing games due to suspension, that's hurting your team, not just for the present game, but for a future game. Too valuable to put yourself in those positions. Way too valuable. Don't do it.
There was a question whether or not we would see Owen Beck in this game here today because of that suspension. But if and when he does return to the OHL, that's when he'll have to serve the second game of that 2-game suspension. It's interesting with the Seattle team. As much as we're talking about Peterborough being resilient, Seattle's shown a lot of pushback here, you know, with that quick goal that we just talked about. And then it was Owen Beck giving them the lead there at Peterborough. But again, a quick response from Seattle, just scoring 52 seconds later to tie this one up.
Yeah, and it's about being connected, and Krnkovic does a real good job. And it's all about drawing coverage to you, and you're entering the offensive zone. You want to draw coverage to you. You want to push coverage back and create some big space, and that's exactly what happens as Krnkovic, you can see, just able to get the puck off and push it towards the net. But you know, when you talk about Krnkovic, it's all about Davidson as well. Pulling the coverage right here, drawing a few to him, and then jumping into that space, that timely space is Krnkovic. But the presence of mind by Davidson to just get in over the blue line, draw the coverage. Now everyone has sagged. Everyone has sagged because they're not sure what Davidson is going to do. He's drawn one more player, and Krnkovic's able to jump onto that puck with good timing and put a chopped cheese.
Jared Davidson made such an excellent play by driving and then drawing the opponents to him. And then Peterborough, when we talked about how good they were defensively, they broke down in their defensive play, chasing the play. It opens up the middle, 2-2.
Yep.
Only 2 penalties so far in this game, both taken by Peterborough Petes. And interesting there as well, because the Petes actually had the best opportunities on those shorthanded chances.
Yeah, they really did. And Tucker Robertson, he's one of those players, he recognizes an opportunity and he's going to pounce. And you know that he's going to be he's going to be a feisty player, but he's got the compete. He has got the will. He knows exactly what he's got to do. He's got good timing with some crossover speed. I love this dumping. I absolutely love this dumping. He recognizes, listen, I'm not going to go one-on-one here. I know that I'm going to be hounding the puck. I'm going to retrieve it. I'm going to find a way to take the puck to the net. I'm not afraid to drive the interior, and that's exactly what he does. He's got good presence of mind to get to the paint. That was what I was keeping my eye on right at the onset of this game, his ability to deflect pucks and tip them, because he's not afraid to get to the middle of the ice. A great stick here to continue to drive, and you can see that he's just fighting to get through the middle of the ice. So here's a guy who's got a lot of will, a lot of compete, and really sending a message to his entire group. This is how we're going to play.
Kevin, Brad Lambert's not going to hear my voice or Kevin Sawyer's voice if he watches this broadcast again, because time and time again, Brad Lambert's made some really poor decisions that have led the play going the other way. The first goal of the game by J.R. Avon, a couple of shorthanded opportunities. You're a better player than that. You've got to recognize when you don't have a play, or where the risk in that play is so far beyond what the option is that it's not worth taking. He's got to recognize that, and he hasn't in this game.
Especially when you're in high ice, right? When you're in high ice, either you're the last man back, you got to make sure that you're either managing the puck, and it's okay to put it in deep every once in a while. A safe play is not a bad play. You just got to be aware. You got to see. You got to recognize where you are on the ice and where the pressure is coming from.
This game, it's amazing how different it was from yesterday's game. It's a little grittier. It's very competitive, and we're in store for a very good third period as well. Our intermission, we're not over just yet. Our coverage of the 2023 Memorial Cup presented by Kia will continue right after this.
It's the opening game of the 2023 Memorial Cup presented by Kia, and the host team came out flying. But it was the Q champions weathering the storm and flipping the script. This is the Cup. Held without a shot for the first 7 minutes, the Remparts were happy to escape the first, tied 1-1.
I think we were a little bit nervous to start the game, to be honest, and we played hard. And I mean, in the second, we kind of settled down the crowd a little bit, and you know, we got the momentum, and we went from there.
I think that's what gave them a bit of trouble. You know, we were having good forechecks, and we were doing a lot of little details right.
The Remparts' special teams performed in a big way, keeping the WHL's best power play at bay.
7 is way too many. We need to be better in that regard.
I think our PK did a good job, and I mean, we killed some huge minutes, and we even scored a goal, so it was nice for us to do that.
James Malatesta and Kassim Gaudet combined for 5 of the 8 Rempart goals.
Yeah, they've been pretty amazing, so we'll keep, we have our little secrets, but we'll keep that in the room.
I was honestly just happy. You know, I think Roby made me two very nice backdoor passes, so all the credit goes to him.
A reset and a short memory will be key for the Blazers.
Yeah, obviously a tough one tonight, but gonna go back to the drawing board tomorrow, watch some video, make some corrections, and yeah, just got to stay positive. That's something that we've talked about ever since the season began, is you know, staying present and stepping into the moment.
The Rampart have 2 days off before facing the Dub champion Thunderbirds on Monday.
We're going to have to be better than we were today defensively. I feel like we gave them a bit too many good chances.
It'll feel good to have 2 days off, and I'll probably practice in between that, and we'll make sure to be ready on Monday.
So yes, once again, the Blazers will be looking to get in the win column. They're back in action tomorrow against Peterborough, and as you heard, the Quebec Remparts have a couple days off. Monday is their next game when they take on these Seattle Thunderbirds. Well, today is Mental Health Day at the Memorial Cup, and one of the main initiatives for the CHL is a program called Talk Today. Talk Today was developed by the Canadian Mental Health Association, Ontario Division, and launched in 2014 in partnership with the OHL. But now the program has expanded to the entire CHL. One of the main goals of Talk Today is to make mental health awareness accessible to the junior hockey community and normalize mental health in all forms. Big number to point out here is 4,810. That's the number of people who have undergone the Talk Today training, which includes players, coaches, as well as staff members. Well, it's another great crowd here at the Sandman Center to take in Seattle and Peterborough, and some familiar faces are taking it all in as well. Third period, all tied up, 2-2. We'll be back after this.
Start of period number 3 here in Kamloops in this round-robin game between Seattle and Peterborough. And Kevin, if we go back to the Pete's playoff run, one thing we learned about their captain is that Sean Spearing is tough as nails.
Tough as nails. You go back to the North Bay Game 7 series, and that shot right there, he takes off the fake, and he blocked that shot, broke his jaw. Later in the game, he actually blocked another one and then left the game. I don't think he knew his jaw was broken the first time, so he breaks it twice. Misses one game, got the full visor on. Tonight, he's got at least 2 block shots. He's been the captain of this team for the last 2 seasons, and you want to talk about bravery. You look into the eye of the storm. What scares you, you go towards, you deal with it, and I'll tell you what, this guy's the right guy for the job. As far as being the spiritual leader, he's that. You talk to his coach, you ask him, who drives this team off the ice when we don't see it? He goes, that man does. He cares about people, he's inclusive, but you talk about talking the talk. Well, he can't talk great right now, his jaw's wired shut, but he certainly walks the walk.
He's been making his best effort. He did an interview with us after the OHL championship game against the London Knights in Game 6. Usually a very talky, chat-of type person, but he's had to dial that back a little bit lately, given the jaw injury. As Nolan Allen rifles it in, he hit the referee with the dump-in attempt. And Donovan McCoy locked up with Davidson in the corner. Avery Hayes and Robertson. Back it comes for Donovan McCoy. He'll set up shop behind his own net. Donovan McCoy, the Belleville, Ontario native, plays it off on the wing. Here comes Owen Beck. Can he do it again? Off the rush. This time he sent it wide. Back through center ice it comes. Chase Stillman will be the first to it. Zanetti back ahead through center. Stillman pushing it in past Kevin Korchinski. The end boards with Dylan Gunther. Korchinski scoops it around for Brad Lambert. Lambert to Schaefer. And now Luke Prokop off the boards. Gunther rips it wide. Korchinski back from the point. Laid around for Dylan Gunther. And to center again for the overage defenseman Prokop. And got it to Lambert, but a little too eager to try and come in over the line. He's offside.
Well, we talked about Brendan Othman off the top and how impactful and important he is to this team. And they'll be holding their breath as Othman takes the shot. It looked to me like he took it right in the wrist, right there. Not quite sure exactly, but from there he went straight to the bench and then down the tunnel. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. See if he returns. That would be a huge loss from a big member of that top line.
That is the last thing you want to see right now if you're the Peterborough Petes.
Points in 19 of 23 playoff games, had 25 points, led his team in that category.
Never had more than 2 points, though, in a single game throughout the playoffs. So, mark of consistency
right on
postseason long. First rounder to the Rangers in 2021 when he was taken 16th overall. It was Gavin White as it posted up along the boards. And through center, Connor Lockhart plays it back. Avon moves it in. Now Sawyer Minio. For a pass for Bickford up to Gustafson. Ivanovic directs it back into his own zone. Off to Minio. Kamloops native Sawyer Minio. Be a special game for him playing in the Memorial Cup in his hometown.
Special goal he scored in round 3 against Kamloops. And talk about defending, and I talk about how that happens in all 3 zones. Look at the neutral zone here. So Peterborough's on charge, and look at the back pressure from the forwards coming from behind the side. That allows your defenseman to stand up. That gap tightens because of the back pressure. That's excellent neutral zone defense from Seattle. A big part of who they are. They do not let teams get fast because they take your speed away before speed can hurt you. That was an excellent job executing between the Blues.
Jonathan Malee moves his puck over to back. He finds Brian Zanetti in over the line. Tried to challenge Jeremy Hansel. Hansel's got it now. Winding away from back. Allen the boards to Siona. Right through center. Camgo off to Zanetti. Tipped in by Beck. Milic leaves it at the side of the net for Nolan Allen. Throw back for Jeremy Hansel. And here comes Hansel with a pass over to Krinkovic. Finds Allen. Nice stick at the line for Tucker Robertson. And it's elevated back in, and Peterborough come out through center. So Robertson with Hayes, and now J.R. Avon steps into the spot that would normally be occupied by Brendan Hoffman on this line. And he'll throw a hit here on Kevin Korchinski as the puck comes through center with Brad Lambert. Lambert hits the brakes, passes off, and Robertson's in the right place there to pick it off. And back through center. Looks to the wing for Hayes. His offering is wide. And Seattle to the neutral zone. Dylan Gunther. And Korchinski over the line. Gunther in the corner. Couldn't connect on a pass. Lambert tied up here with Connor Smith.
This Peterborough team has amazing sticks. They are so good. Now, you can't have a good stick if you don't have good feet and you're in the right place to use them. But, boy, they deny access to their zone. They don't give up free ice. We showed the tight defense from Seattle. Both teams have been really good in that way.
Nice play there for Prokop to knock it down out of the air. That allows Seattle to chase it in deep to Peterborough's territory as Maye looks off the glass to center. Doc takes a hit as he throws it in, and Simpson out to play it. Standing on the pass, Gavin White, pressured by Gustafson in the corner. Gavin White from his rear end plays it up the boards, and out to center it goes. Backhanded in by Dubois. Lefebvre chasing after centers. Crafty pass, but no one there for the Petes. And Zanetti plays it to the line, couldn't get it out. And picked off in the slot. Krinkovic shoots. Snapped off by the glove hand of Michael Simpson.
Well, Kevin Korchinski, a first rounder to Chicago in last year's draft. Look at the way he takes a hit to make a play. Good job from Lambert to be in tight support, but he's had a tough night. That right there, he's going to take a hit, and he needs to make a play. Instead, he takes a guess, and he throws the puck away in high ice. This is where you just have to manage the puck and make sure that you make the right play. He took the hit anyway. You might as well put the puck to a good space. That Cheryl talked about that in the intermission. A safe play is sometimes the right play. It's a good play. And right now, maybe the big moment of the Memorial Cup is in the head of Lambert. I can assure you, he's an intelligent player. He's competitive. He's a heck of a player. Some of his decision-making with the puck tonight has not been excellent.
This one's played off the end boards as Spearing is tied up with Krinkovic along the near side. Malee back to center where it's picked up by Stillman. Has Govro the trailer. Pass to the line. Peterborough will pick it up. Malee off the Cam Goldbrough. Passes across, and a shot is caught by Milic, and he'll get the whistle.
Well, a relatively easy night for the standard of Thomas Milic, where he had stopped 30 of 31 in game 6 against, or pardon me, game 5 against the Winnipeg Ice. But this is a winner. This is a guy that just knows how to rise his level in big moments. Of course, backstop Canada, the World Juniors, and what a huge season he had this year. 195 goals against average in the playoffs, and this is a guy that isn't huge, right? Not the prototypical body type for a goaltender, but he makes up for it in mobility, quick feet, and then hockey IQ. So he needs plays, and often he's in position before they develop. He's been excellent.
Off the boards, here's Gunther. That's poked away. Prokop, the center of the ice. Gunther off the wing. Shot doesn't get through. Good news here for the Petes. Brendan Hoffman has returned to the Peterborough bench. We'll see how long it takes before he's back on the ice. But in the meantime, we will step aside and take a break with this game tied at 2.
The CHL on TSN is proudly presented by the all-new Kia Niro EV. Start your EV journey today.
The Canadian Hockey League announced today that $18,000 was raised in support of the Canadian Mental Health Association, Ontario's Talk Today program, from its 2023 Kubota CHL NHL Top Prospects Game jersey auction, with 100% of the proceeds from that auction being donated to aid the work of the CMHA branches participating in Talk Today across Canada. Great news, and they'll be auctioning off more jerseys as well for that cause. Those will be uniforms from the World Juniors. That auction gets underway on Monday, June 5th. As saved here for Michael Simpson. You can find some more details on that on the Canadian Hockey League website. As the Seattle Thunderbirds come up to center with Jordan Gustafson. Moves it in behind the net for Michael Simpson. Now the board's tied up here with Colton Dock, and Gustafson comes out for Avery Hayes. And he passes up to Brendan Hoffman. So here he is for his first shift since departing briefly with, we're speculating, might be a wrist injury of sorts after taking a puck. And that reads in. Look out. That one's going pretty hot into the crowd off the stick of Avery Hayes.
Jeremy Hansel was a free agent signing for the Seattle Thunderbirds. He's undrafted into the NHL, and you talk about a guy that's built a really nice junior career, and I think he's going to be a pro. Look at the feet, the way he grabs that puck off the wall, he walks the line, and he creates a lane to the net for himself. That's excellent feet combined with hands, right? And then defensively, he's on the body. He led the Western Hockey League at a +70 rating. That is phenomenal. He has improved his game with the puck, and I would be shocked if his name doesn't get called in this upcoming draft.
Here's Jared Davidson to the forehand, and Simpson the save. Hansel had 22 playoff points in 19 games. Only Ben Gelati and Owen Zellweger had more points by defensemen in the postseason this year in the Western League.
Now he's on a 5-game point streak.
Of course, that goes back to the Western League final. Sam Maia plays it around the boards.
You talk about plus minus, and it is kind of subjective to some degree, right? But when you're talking +70, it's not. And when you're talking +26 in the playoffs, it's not. When he's on the ice, good things happen.
Puck comes around the net for Sawyer Minio. Evades ahead from Stillman. And back out to center ice comes the puck for Cam Goldbrough. Milic handled it around for Schaefer, almost turned over. Schaefer takes a knock from Stillman. Up to center. Kevin Korchinski off the boards and in. Lambert played back around Goldbrough for Zanetti. And now Prokop at the blue line. Looking for Schaefer. It's gloved down by Lambert. There's Reed Schaefer stepping in off the wing. Behind the net, trying to curl it out in front. Lambert from the corner, back to Jeremy Hansel. Hansel, one-timer for Prokop. That's a hard block. Caught a good piece there of Chase Stillman. He's back to his feet. Gunther has it now. To the line, Hansel. Lambert, Gunther, one-timer, Schaefer in front, banging away, and Simpson's got it covered.
Such a hard play to defend over and over again. We've showed a couple of these. There's the big body of Schaefer, the first rounder to Edmonton, and there's the shot. So Seattle does a good job. They recognize, okay, we got big bodies net front. Let's make sure we don't let Big Reed down. And there's the shot, and he's all over it like a dog on a bone, looking for a rebound, a second opportunity. The puck was loose for a second. So defend that once, twice, one period, two periods. You get to the third period and you're exhausted as a goaltender, as a defenseman. It wears you down. Those big bodies doing a good job in the blue paint.
Here's Brennan Osmond rushing ahead through center. And past Minio. And the boards it comes. McCoy, that's kicked out by Milic right into the slot, where it'll be taken by Colton Dock. He ushers it into the Pete zone. Simpson in around the boards. It's blocked in the corner. Connor Smith was there for the Petes. Drifting back to the slot. It's taken by Robertson. Up ice she comes. Chipping it in. Tucker Robertson, no strain to the clutch goals. The OHL Championship Series had an OT winner in Game 3 against the Knights, and then had the game winner in what turned out to be a narrow 2-1 victory for the Petes in Game 6. Here's Nolan Allen. Fires that shot wide. We approach the 10-minute mark of period number 3. What has been a pretty tight defensive contest between these two squads. White fan on the pass. Here's Greg Kovic. He scores! Kyle Krinkovic, 2 in the game, off the post and in again, and the Thunderbirds lead 3-2.
This is a beautiful release, and you heard him ring the bell off the post and in. So this is just taking what's given, right? Take the wall away. Look at the patience in high ice, much like Siona on the first goal of the game. That's your starting point. Okay, let's wait. Let's wait. Be patient. Allow the puck to come to us. Pressure from Siona. He jars the puck loose, and there's Krinkovic. He waits. He gets it downhill, and then how about the release? Ring the bell. Ding, dong. 3-2 lead. 10 minutes remain.
Going to be naming the crossbar after him here at this rate.
What a shot.
2 perfect shots from Kyle Krinkovic in this contest. And the Petes working from behind now into the final half of this third period of play. Thunderbirds will look to shut him down as J.R. Avon from center goes back to his own zone. This is the first lead of the game for Seattle. As Lucas Siona, no shot on Simpson. Thunderbirds not used to playing catch-up given how they dominated through the WHL season and playoffs. But they're up in front by 1 now. Another beauty from Kyle Krinkovic. Save the Game is brought to you by Real Canadian Superstore. Save for real at Real Canadian Superstore.
Now the score is 2-2 at this point, and that's the shot from Robertson from the goal line. Thomas Milic, look at that. He uses every body part to keep that out and to keep it a 2-2 game. That's your Real Canadian Superstore save of the game. And we've got 2 special goaltenders in this game. Only 6 times prior to this tournament has 2 MVPs of the respective leagues been goaltenders competed in the same Memorial Cup. You look at some of the lists there. Steve Passmore, former Kamloops player. Eric Fouchot, teammate of mine down the list you go to present day. Thomas Milic and Michael Simpson, who have been huge parts of their team's success.
And both goaltenders still yet to be drafted in the National Hockey League. You pointed out something interesting the other day, Kevin. All 4 starting netliners in this tournament are undrafted to the National Hockey League.
All 4, and it's been 20 years since that has been a fact. And quite remarkable.
Saw last year.
That's going to change. That is going to change. No doubt about it. Probably the first 2 to go. If they go, it would be the 2 in this game for sure. Thomas Milic and Michael Simpson are going to be sought after.
Of course, we saw last year Sebastian Cossa, first round pick to the Detroit Red Wings, was with the Edmonton Oil Kings, came in with a high pedigree. The path to success as a goaltender in the National Hockey League is very rarely straightforward.
We talk about size, right? So, of course, the butterfly, you want to make sure your shoulders as a goaltender at least level with the crossbar. So that's, you know, it almost seems like 6'4" prerequisite. But tell UC Soros that Saros that in Nashville, right? Or tell Jonathan Quick that, the two-time Stanley Cup champion. There's a will, there's a way, and if you can win, you can win. And Thomas Milic has proven that he can.
Here's Nolan Allen at center ice for Seattle. And over the line, scores! Nolan Allen beats Simpson 5-hole, and Seattle are in front by 2.
An unlikely trigger man. 2 goals in the playoffs in 19 games for Nolan Allen. We're talking about the goaltending and how good it has been. It has been. But this is one that Michael Simpson, I think, should have had, would like to have back, because it's just a little shot right on the ice. Now, it's a good little release, but slides at 5-hole. Nice job there. Eyes up from Nolan Allen, and he puts the 4th one in behind Michael Simpson. And here we got 8:38 remaining, and Seattle getting better shift by shift.
Allen had 2 in the postseason, 11 in the regular season for Prince Albert and Seattle. And now he's got his first at the Memorial Cup as Simpson smothers this. Couple goals there for Seattle, about a minute 20 or so apart.
You know, it was interesting as we take another look at this goal from Allen. He's what an acquisition. Him and Jeremy Hansel have been everything. Like they go up against the other team's best players. They smother you. They'll shut you down. And that little offense, as we see there. But it's been interesting is watching Seattle against Winnipeg. You know, they've won some games where they weren't the best team on the ice. And I don't think I saw them play a game where they put 60 minutes together dominantly, and yet they were still winning. And all due respect to Winnipeg, who was not an easy out. But Seattle built themselves into this game. They've been getting better and better as the game has grown, and that will be very good news if they can continue that trend in this tournament.
Thomas Milic plays this around the boards for Prokop. Thunderbirds made some significant moves to shore up their blue line. Of course, the first big one was bringing in Nolan Allen for Prince Albert. Of course, they brought in Luke Prokop as well from the ECHL. That was the other one.
That was important because he came in early in the season, right? So he's able to settle in and kind of bring his experience, the 20-year-old, into the locker room and amalgamate quickly. And I had a great chat with Luke this morning, and I asked him kind of what he learned from last year with the Edmonton Oil Kings going to St. John Memorial Cup. He said, we knew we were a good team. On paper, you look at the draft picks and the gold medalists. He says, but what we maybe overlooked is that so is everybody else, right? That maybe a lack of humility or awareness. And this team in Seattle has been through so much adversity. We talked about it before. He says, we know we're good, but we respect the fact that everybody else is good here too. They got a good example of that in the first half of this game. The Petes were controlling play. Now Seattle has taken that over.
So the Thunderbirds brought in Prokop late October, and then a couple weeks later they traded for Nolan Allen. Some teams wait to the deadline to find out if they're all in. Seattle knew right from the get-go they were going for a title this year. There's Maye in from the line. Build around the boards. J.R. Avon dealing with pressure here for Pickford, and he's brought down. Peterborough Petes are going to have an opportunity here to try and get back into this game with a power play.
We saw Krinkovic early in this game draw the first power play of the game from investing on the wall down low. So you wear down your opponent, you can build offense off the wall, off of the cycle, and if at the very least you got an opportunity to draw a penalty. Krinkovic did it, and then Avon does the same thing here. Body position, you force your opponent to chase. There's the stick, down he goes, and now the Petes will get their first power play of this game.
The power play, Kevin, was a point of debate for the Peterborough Petes throughout the playoffs because it wasn't very good. And normally you get teams as the underdogs that take advantage of their opportunities, but that was something they failed to do very often on the power play. They were just 10.6%, 9 for 85 in the postseason.
2 for 19 in that last series against London as well. So the good news is they didn't rely on special teams to win them series, but man, you need them to work for you too if you want to win this tournament.
No time better than now for Peterborough's power play to come through for them and get on a roll. You're Rob Wilson and his coaching staff. There's Gavin White. We'll look ahead up ice. Minute 20 to go and a minor penalty to Pickford. Hoffman for Robertson. Back out to center. Gavin White picks it up in his own zone. White swings it back for Hoffman. Now Gets it over the line. Off to Hayes. Blocked by Hansel. To the point, Gavin White. Passes to Brennan Othman. Gavin White fakes the one time. Now to Avery Hayes. He shoots, he scores! Avery Hayes hesitated at full. Thomas Milic. Power play goal for the Petes, and the deficit's back down to 1.
Good eye, Vic. It was the hesitation that made this play because there was no lanes to the net. Seattle just doing a rock-solid job. Watch. Lane to the net filled with 2 bodies. Puck moves. Lane to the net filled with 2 bodies at least. So you force the puck to stay in the perimeter. Watch Hayes. Gets it fake. He cracks his wrists, and then he waits for that lane to be evacuated. This is just a pure goal scorer's shot. There it is, the weight, hold, and then he moves and opens up a lane right there. So he almost uses those screens in those lanes against Thomas Milic. That's a big one. 6 minutes remain, down by 1 are the Petes.
Scored 3 goals in last year's Memorial Cup in St. John. Had 12 goals in the postseason this year for the Peterborough Petes, and he's got another. His Prokop shot is stopped by Simpson. Rebound was loose in front for a moment. And Peterborough's power play, just like that, is at 100%, 1 for 1 in this year's Memorial Cup. As Brian Zanetti starts up ice. Petes with lots of life left in him. Jonathan Malee up the middle, can't get the shot through. Siona laid around the boards for Davidson. Popovich controls over the line. Left it for Davidson. Floats the shot off the mark. Back to the corner. Maie pokes it behind for Donovan McCoy. Back up to center. Seattle with it. Minio. Wrapped around the boards from the point. Colton docked the shot. And Simpson absorbs it for the whistle. Seattle stretched it to 2. And Avery Hayes has the deficit back down to 1. Memorial Cup coverage continues on TSN tomorrow. It'll be the second game in as many days for the Peterborough Petes. They'll take on the host Kamloops Blazers. Coverage gets started at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific right here in Kamloops. And Avery Hayes with a big power play goal there, Kevin, and that's no surprise given his track record this season.
Yeah, second most power play goals in the OHL in the regular season this year, and he gets the big one for his team here in the Memorial Cup. He had 12 goals in the first 4 rounds of these playoffs. 2 of those were power play goals. That was a big one. It gives some life to this team. 1 goal down in just over 5 minutes to go.
He had 43 goals in the regular season, 2 more than the 41 he had last season with the Hamilton Bulldogs. Big trade acquisition. One of many big trade acquisitions for the Peterborough Petes that's paid off for them is the shot from Dock. Turned aside by Simpson. He's looking ahead to center. Donovan McCoy will just nudge it ahead for Lockhart. For those looking for Vancouver versus St. Louis and MLS on TSN action, you can catch that game right now on TSN.ca. Join that contest in progress at the conclusion of this Memorial Cup game. As plays whistle down here for a high stick.
It's an interesting tournament in a lot of different ways, right? None of these teams have ever seen each other before, so everything that you do is on video, right? You prepare, you watch games. Matt Audette talked about maybe the biggest takeaway from 2017's Memorial Cup, where his team, as he was an assistant, they didn't win a game. They weren't very good. He wasn't pleased. What he learned was that they overthought things. They went to the video. They tried to make sure they had a plan for everything. And it's the case where he said, less is more. And I totally agree. You want to be prepared. Okay, this happens. Don't panic. We're ready for it. We've seen it. But let's make them adjust to us versus trying to counter everything that's coming at us.
Hoffman with a shot. That was turned away by Milic. 4:15 to go in the third. Hoffman from the point. Trying to shrug off Gunther. Dylan Gunther to center with Schaefer over the line, and Gavin White got his stick in the way. That might have interrupted the play a little bit to force the offside.
Well, you know what? It'll be interesting to see how this last 4 minutes is played from Peterborough. Really patient team, right? And they're going to take more risks. The risk profile will go up. That last play, although it's offside from Seattle, Peterborough had 3 forwards down low in the offensive zone, so they're going to have to take chances. There you go. Well, what does that mean? You're probably going to have odd man rushes coming back the other way. 3-on-2 for Seattle goes offside. Keep an eye on the risk profile for Peterborough here down a goal.
Keep our eyes on Michael Simpson as well to see at what point head coach Rob Wilson decides to summon him back to the bench. Favor the extra attackers. Chase Lefebvre pushed it in not far over the line before Nolan Allen sent it right back through center. Stillman takes a knock from Hansel as it comes around for Allen. He finds Lucas Siona rushing down the left side. Rolling around the boards for Simpson. He left it for Zanetti. Now Gavin White surveys the ice and finds Beck off his stick. Did not clear the center ice red line, so it's going to be icing charge to Peterborough.
We looked at the playoffs for Seattle. They had a stat for me that jumped off the page throughout the 4 rounds getting to the Memorial Cup. In the third period, they outscored their opponents 41-12 in the third period and overtime. That tells me it's a team that's well conditioned. It's a team that doesn't panic. It's a team that knows how to play with a lead. Well, they've got a 1-goal lead here, and they have been here, done that. So they'll be responsible. They won't take unnecessary risks, but they'll still apply pressure. That's an amazing stat.
Here's Gustafson. He scores! Another third period goal for the Thunderbirds. This time Gustafson has it back to a 2-goal lead.
Well, a little fadeaway shot, and this is an outstanding release from Gustafson, who played 1 game in his last 9. He was injured, missed 8. He played game 5 against the Winnipeg Ice. And look at this. Korchinski on one side, and he fades it away over to Gustafson. Look at the way he's backing off, and he releases it cross screen. That's an excellent release. Low, under the blocker, over the pad. That's a big one. 5-3, the 2-goal lead is restored. 3:15 to go.
Jordan Gustafson only played in 9 playoff games, then 40 in the regular season. This play is whistled down. He's dealt with injuries all year long.
Yeah, he has. He's such an important player for this team. He's typically on a shutdown line for Matt Odette. His face-offs, 60% in the playoffs. He's one of those guys that the coaches love to coach him. He just understands what's expected. He can adjust. He can play up and down the lineup. And here's a big moment for sure is Peterborough, your math, I think, was bang on. 100%, is that what we're at?
That's very easy for me, Kevin. 1 for 1 equals 100%.
100%, baby. And so Peterborough will call a timeout, and they'll make sure that they rest their top guys, go to the drawing board here and see if they can repeat the magic on the power play to draw back within 1.
So Schaefer's in the box for 2 minutes or less. I can tell you as well, Kevin, if the Peas don't convert on this, they'll be 1 for 2. That's 50%.
Oh, you beat me to it. I knew that one. It's quite remarkable, though. That power play, just over 10% in the playoffs. It's not good enough. Their overall team game has been excellent. It's been able to recover for it. But when you are among the best of the best in the country, you've got to have your special teams giving you momentum and chipping away at helping you versus working against you. So tonight, so far, so good.
Lots to talk about in this third period, Kevin. Some goals on either side.
There's that patience from Kovic that led to that goal off the post and in. An unlikely goal score from Nolan Allen. Big moment there, a penalty, and then on the power play, Peterborough is able to get back within 1. Seattle responded with Gustafson goal, and on the power play here in the dying minutes for Peterborough.
Here's Lockhart, and a quick shot off the face-off is handled by Milic for the whistle. 5 seconds expired on this power play.
We talked about the top 3 centermen for Peterborough. They're all 60% or better on the face-off. This is when it really matters, a clean win, so you get possession in a really key moment of the game, needless to say, and they get a shot from it. Face-offs are huge.
Majadovic versus Beck in the face-off circle. And Mayo plays it around the boards for Hoffman. Hoffman shot up high on Milic. Bounces back to the corner and around for Avery Hayes. Settles it down. Can't find anyone though with a pass as Majadovic was in the way. He's got it shoved up along the boards. And it's worked out through center by Prokop. Gustafson here with the net empty. Settles and he missed. Bouncing puck gave it too much trouble. And he sends it off the skate of Hoffman as the Peats break out to center. 6-on-4. Door stays open, just a crack. Is Avery Hayes looking back to the line, missed. Connor Lockhart picks it up in his own zone. So the Petes have 6 skaters, and all of them are forwards right now on the ice. As Owen Beck sends it in on Allen. They both crash into the boards. Here's Lockhart. Pays one touch to Hoffman. His offering to the net off the leg. Hoffman up high again. Lockhart down low for Hayes. Back to Lockhart. Takes the shot that just missed. And Brennan Hoffman passes across, picked off. Here's Krinkovic for the hat trick. He scores. For the second time in as many games at the Memorial Cup, we've got a hat trick.
Well, an ill-advised pass from Brennan Hoffman. You got to wonder if that is just fatigue, right? He tries to break a seam in high ice. And it's Krinkovic that reads it. And the initial chance earlier from Gustafsson up the ice. He wins the race, but just can't get the puck to go for him. So Peterborough is able to recover. And then you look the other way, a pass from Hoffman picked off with a good defensive stick from Krinkovic. And he throws in 3 tonight. And the Seattle Thunderbirds double up on the Petes 6-3. They started slow, but they're going to like their finish here. Seattle got better as this game grew.
They pick up the hatch off the ice at Sandman Center. Krinkovic didn't have to go bar down on that one. No. It would have been impressive, though, if he did.
Sure would have.
Would have taken some guts.
But what's impressive for me, the former Saskatoon Blade scored 39 goals last year. His all-around game. He's a guy that can finish some hits. He's not a big guy, but he plays with some snap. Defensively, he can make good reads, and offensively, well, you've seen it 3 times. Off the bar and in, and he gets the 3rd one to put a bow on this one.
That's his first hat trick of the season. Kyle Krinkovic. 6 goals in the playoffs, 30 in the regular season, 3 this afternoon in his first game at the 2023 Memorial Cup presented by Kia. Well, the T-Birds look to be well on their way to breaking a 6-game losing streak at the Memorial Cup that goes all the way back to their 2nd game of the 1992 tournament, a tournament that they hosted. After being verdone, they dropped a 4-3 final to the Sioux Greyhounds and lost back-to-back games to Kamloops as the penalty here expires. Schaefer's back to the ice. They lost all 3 games in 2017 to Erie, Windsor, and St. John. Sawyer Video plays it up the wing by Adovic to center ice. And Chase Lefebvre over the line. It's blocked by Prokop. Another offering to the net. This is usually handled by Thomas Milic.
Well, you look back to the start of this game in Seattle, was maybe a little bit overwhelmed with the style of the game from the Peterborough Petes, but they had the 7 days off and they came in with their feet under them. So you got the rust, you got the rest, and then you've got the result that the Seattle Thunderbirds wanted. Like you mentioned, their first win since 1992, back when Scott Niedermayer was in the tournament. He was with the Kamloops Blazers. What a game, what a performance.
And it's been an awful long time, Kevin, since the Western Hockey League champion has won in regulation in this tournament. You have to go all the way back to 2015 when Kelowna beat the Quebec Ramparts in the semifinal that year. The Edmonton Oil Kings broke a 15-game losing streak for the WHL champs at last year's Memorial Cup when they beat St. John in overtime. One of the tougher streaks, curses, if you will, to explain in the history of this tournament, the struggles of the Western League champions, but they are off to a great start this season. As this puck caught a piece of somebody on the Peterborough bench, we'll have another stoppage of play with about 5 seconds to go in the 3rd.
Yeah, lots to cheer about for the Seattle Thunderbirds fans. And you look at their motto last year, 1 more day. This year it's reload and re-engage. And you know what? Seattle reloaded 6 times tonight and they were engaged. Got more and more engaged as this game grew, and they're going to take their first win in this first game of the Memorial Cup tournament here in Kamloops to the bank.
1 game closer for the Seattle Thunderbirds, who carry the momentum after winning 4 straight in the Western Hockey League Championship Series. They take game 1 of the Memorial Cup 6-3 over the Peterborough Petes.
lot of credit for me to the head coach, Matt Audette. I thought that they went to the locker room after the first and they made the appropriate and adequate adjustments to come back out, and they were the silver medalist after the first period in my mind, but they came out, took control of the game again in the second period, and their depth had a big part of it, right? From top to bottom, they were heavy, they were hard, and they were able to impose their game plan on Peterborough, who was able to do that in the first period better.
Stick around for player of the game ceremony. As the Seattle Thunderbirds are already going back here to the dressing room, as the Peterborough Petes are as well. Don't think we really need to think too hard and long about who's going to be the player of the game of this one, Kevin. Well, of course, James Malatesta last night with the hat trick for Quebec, and would think it's going to be Kyle Krikovic tonight for Seattle.
Absolutely, he was excellent. They needed to find a way to get some offense through the defensive patience from the Peterborough Petes. He threw it in 3 times.
It's time now for the Player of the Game award. The award goes to the player from the winning team, Seattle Thunderbirds. And joining us to present this award is Dave Campbell, the Director of Elite Athlete Services for True Hockey. And today's Player of the Game, with a hat trick for the Seattle Thunderbirds, number 61, Kyle Krikovic.
So Kyle Krikovic, special day for him. 3 goals, counts for half of the 6 that the T-Birds put up to start off their quest for a Memorial Cup in Kamloops. We are back tomorrow. It'll be the Blazers, the hosts, back on the ice for another Sunday afternoon matinee affair. They'll take on the Peterborough Petes, who look to get back into the winning column. They dropped their first game 6-3 to Seattle today.